It's in my book, actually.
Peace and Black Power, family. Welcome to another Sarnetta TV House of Consciousness production. And we are here with our brother Jabari, and another brother, go by the name of Silas. Brother Silas is in the building as well. And I would like to open up the floor, introduce our brother Silas. And let's find out what's ticking in my brother's brain for a minute.
What's going on, peoples? I don't really never have too much to say. I like to just get straight to it. Well, I started indulging in the knowledge when I was young, like 16, because I don't play video games or nothing. So when all my homies play video games, I pull my book out. So I started that young, but your boy Sankofa shared my God sacrifice video. That's how it happened.
Oh.
So he's the reason. Sankofa.
Okay. So, Brother Jabari, we have a young brother here, man. I know you like to take it easy. You like to be humble. You love to be humble with people. But people are calling me up, telling me, yo, tell Jabari, man,
Go in.
you got to go in a little harder. And you can still be humble, but you got to drive your point.
Let me say this. And some other folks have said that, I'm in an interesting position because I have folks who are in the Kemetic community that in some ways don't understand why I debate anybody. Right. They say, why are you doing that? You're a priest, right? And I have other people who know me as a historian and lecturer, and they say, just instead of giving them a death by 1,000 cuts, which is usually what I do, stab them in the heart. So I am in the middle, right? The reality is that I don't enjoy arguing or debating with black people. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I think that there's some information that our community needs to have. And I also believe that when we discuss these issues, we help our community understand, crystallize some concepts that will help us be powerful, right? We don't have to agree on everything. I don't debate also because everyone has to agree with me. It's also because I want people to have some real intellectual discourse and dialogue, right? That's how it works. Now, if you look at the debate between, for example, Bill Nye and the guy that built the full-scale model of Noah's Ark, you look at the debate, Bill Nye the science guy. If you look at their debate, they didn't try to kill each other, right? When people have intellectual debates, they don't need to kill each other. They just articulate points and articulate where they disagree. Now, Bill Nye and that guy that built that ark will never do anything together. When we are working in our community, I intend to work with people that I disagree with. We're trying to get to an understanding so that we are able to truly understand how we should move forward. So, some people think I should stab people in the heart. These are my brothers and sisters. I'm not going to stab them in the heart. We are going to continue to work together because our community needs so much. So that doesn't mean I'm not going to ask targeted questions. It doesn't mean I'm not going to challenge people, because I do that too. And keep in mind that sometimes people get really upset. I mean, look at how our dear brother Zion Lex flipped out on me. He flipped out on me. We had a much better conversation the second time, but he flipped out. He got upset. So sometimes people get upset when you challenge them. Brother Sanchez got upset when I challenged him on some things in the very beginning. So this brother didn't watch the whole thing, but he's saying that I got smoked. I'm going to say to you very clearly that if you look at the debate, it should be very clear who answered questions. It should be very clear who posed questions that could not be answered. I mean, Brother Sanchez still hasn't told us what's on the other side of the disc. He believes that this is a model that our ancient ancestors have been describing, which I disagree with. He doesn't know where the sources of his pieces are. He even said to me that he was offended I mentioned the Metropolitan Museum because that was the white man's museum. The only reason why I mentioned the Metropolitan is because at least 20 times in his lecture, he shows an image from the Metropolitan Museum, which tells me he has no idea where the image is. He doesn't know where it is. He doesn't know where it's from. He doesn't know what it is. So that he was not prepared to talk to me. He's been saying that our ancestors articulated a flat earth model. He's not prepared with someone who has been studying ancient Africa for over 30 years. I
was expecting you to destroy him.
So, but you got to listen to the arguments. He was Brother Sanchez is not at a podium with me. He's under the podium. His concepts were absolutely ridiculous and destroyed. I know that you questioned why I talked about the moon. Brother Sanchez argues that the moon is a hologram.
You should have just stuck with the flat earth and just...
But you have to understand that the moon tells us that the earth is not flat. When we look at the phases of the moon, we look at how the moon behaves, there's a model that he's created that doesn't make sense. And I will say this to you, it's a comprehensive model. He talks about all sorts of things. So that when you debate this with him, what you have to do is you have to debate the entire model. He believes that the sun and moon are equal and that they literally rotate around this disk.
Okay.
So you have to articulate, well, what is the sun? How far away is the sun? What is the moon? How far away is the moon? How can we tell that the earth is the moon is a sphere and the earth and the sun is a sphere? By the way, if all of those planetary bodies that we see are spheres, why would the earth be a disk? These are all things that I responded to and debated with him. So we certainly talked about why the earth was flat a lot. We talked for a long time. It was like, over 3 hours. So I certainly addressed why the earth itself must be spherical. Now, he believes that when I say that it is wider at the middle than it is on the poles, than if it was a ball, he argues that I show something that looks like a ball. But what I've said continually is that scientists have said that due to gravity, the center of the earth is a little wider, but it's not something that you can detect with your eyes. You'd have to do very precise measurements to know that.
Well, Earth is really, we got to understand that Earth is living. So that bulge you talking about, it goes in, it goes out. It's like pulsating. So when you're dealing with the Earth, it's not going to never just be one shape. It kind of like how they say Earth gotta have a heartbeat. So when you say it bulges out on the sides, sometimes it'll go in a little bit. Not to say that it still won't be spherical, but it's not just always bulged out on the sides. Sometimes it's like pulsating, like a light, in a sense.
I don't think I agree with that.
Why is that?
I don't think I agree that it's pulsating. First of all, understand that even with a small movement of the Earth's crust, we see absolute cataclysm where hundreds of people, sometimes thousands of people die.
But this is movement.
So,
like your heart beating is a normal movement. So the Earth pulsating, the Earth pulsating, that's like the normal movement of Earth. So you wouldn't feel nothing out of the ordinary. You get what I'm saying?
But here's the deal. I think that I'm not saying that the shape of the earth is completely static. It can't be. The earth is literally billions of years old, right? So that's not what I'm saying. But when you say a heartbeat, I think most people would assume that you're talking about something that happens in a relatively rapid fashion. How fast is the human heartbeat? So I think that the analogy of using a heartbeat for subtle changes that may occur in the shape of the earth might be misleading to people. And I don't think that it moves inwards at the corners. If anything, in the middle. If anything, it's getting wider at the middle due to gravity.
Wider and it goes in. But I don't know.
But what do you base that on? What's that based on?
You can base it on the same way that they come to the conclusion that it's bulged on the sides. How did it get bulged? There was a point in time where they never said it was bulged. There was. There was a point in time where it was just spherical. The claim where it expands on the side, this is new. This is not old.
But because it's a newer claim doesn't mean that we're learning new things. We're learning new things about the earth every day. We're learning new things about the heavens every day. We're learning new things about the other planetary bodies every day. So that because they're saying that the earth is slightly wider in the middle than it is on the ends, that doesn't necessarily mean that just happened. I think if it happened that quickly, we would know.
No, that's where we get it wrong. I'm not saying that it just happened. They're observing the earth. So they say. Now, if something is pulsating in and out like that, I'm not saying it's going flat, then coming back, but just pulsating like waves, like everything do on Earth. It's just pulsating. If they examining it at one, because you got to remember this is micro macro. So one pulse, let's say one heartbeat of the Earth, that could take 100 of our years, because it's on a macro level. So it's like when they're looking at it, it may be bulged out. If they go back maybe 100 years after, it might be in some. So it's just pulsating, like any living thing. If Earth is alive, it has to have some type of movement.
Based on what you're saying, I cannot agree or disagree. I don't believe that the math and the science is telling us that the Earth is, that the middle of it is fluctuating, getting more spherical and less spherical, more like a ball and more like a football, back and forth. I don't think that the science tells us that. But as you're saying that it happens over the course of thousands of years, I don't think, or hundreds of years, we haven't been observing it long enough to know that. But I don't believe that the science should have us believe that. I believe that when we use the word heartbeat, it may be misleading. I think that the Earth is a system of living beings.
Is it beating something?
I think that it's a system of living beings. I don't think it's, if we think of the Earth as one living being, that may even be misleading as
So
well.
living beings have hearts.
Do all living beings have hearts? You sitting under a plant. Does that plant have a heart?
It got a heart somewhere.
So what would you say is the heartbeat of the plant?
I would have to look at the genealogy of the actual plant to see where. But the plant has everything we have, like sperm cell, egg. It's all in the seed.
Yeah, but we're talking about heartbeat.
I would have to look. I would have to look into the plant. I mean, I would have to look into the tree. That's what I said.
Now,
I'm not.
Let me say this to
I'm
you.
not in the tree.
The plants do have a system that brings nutrients and brings sustenance to different portions of the plant. So it has what they usually call xylem and phloem. But I don't think that if you call it a heart, people might be too apt to connect it to the mammal-like
I agree.
structure. So I think that is,
I agree with that.
you know what I mean?
No, I get you. Basically saying if I say that the plants have a heart, then people gonna try to tie it in to make it like
What
a
we call the
person.
heart.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm saying. So you're
Right. But see, I could see that we're not necessarily disagreeing entirely, because you're also seeing a beat might be hundreds of years. That's not. But see, when you say a heartbeat, people are thinking that it's pulsating in a bit of a rapid fashion. That's how a heart usually works.
No, you're right.
So
Perspective.
Right.
When you're breaking down things, you do kind of have to be extra clear.
right.
So you're
Right.
on that. But when I said heartbeat, I'm basically explaining. I was explaining the movement. So I'm not actually saying Earth has a heartbeat, because Earth is a part of the larger body. You get my point? Like we have organs in our bodies, then microcells. Earth is like the organs.
Okay, now let me interject here. I would like for Brother Silas, because this is what Jabari really want to try to debunk or try to argue the fact that you say we all didn't come from the same people. It wasn't no African man and African woman who sprouted out and multiplied the earth. We were already here, meaning, are you saying that the albino was already here, that the Chinese man was already here? Go into detail on what you really mean.
I basically was saying you got every continent on Earth, plus you have some that's not here no more. Well, they still here, but they covered in water. Every continent had melanated people on it. How you get different people is from albinos mixing and mingling with the melanated people on every continent. This is how you get like Chinese and us and white people. This is how you get everything in between. You get my point?
I don't think I agree with you.
Why?
As far as we know, albinism is actually a recessive trait. So that if you have an albino person and they have a child, usually that child is not albino. So that I think that when you mix albinos into a population that doesn't, let me try to finish the thought so the family understands what I'm saying. I don't think that that necessarily means that you change entire populations of people by albinism. I think that that is a particular, as far as I understand, albinoism is a particular mutation, but mutations are happening fairly frequently.
But you're not dealing with. When you say albinos have children and they don't, the children are not albino, because you're not speaking about original albinos. You're talking about black people or Chinese people that are albinos, but they're not original albino. An original albino is a white person. Not a white person as we know it, but a white skin, white hair, Caucasian type of person. The albinos you speaking of are people that come after the fact. You get my point? Albinos mix with the melanated people. Therefore, melanated people have that gene within them. So this is why if an albino that's black has a baby, the baby will more than likely come out black. Because the man that's an albino is not an original albino. You get my point?
But then how does that explain the variation in skin pigmentation we see around the world? Because
From reproducing.
Explain that a bit more.
If an albino reproduces with a dark-skinned person, then you get something in the middle, right?
I don't think that that's the case.
So what will you get? What will you get?
If an albino has a child with a person of rich pigmentation, you usually get a person of rich pigmentation.
So you telling me when a black man and a white woman has a baby, the baby usually comes out pigmented? Because that's not true.
Okay.
And it would have to apply the same.
No,
Why not?
because the Tomhu skin coloration is not traditionally what we would call albinoism. That's a different trait. And so I think that if you're comparing what happens between Europeans, the Tomhu, and the African, and saying that the child is usually a slightly different complexion, you have to understand that your average albino still has all of the traits of those people that are genetically in their family, in their lineage. Right. So that if you look at an image, all you have to do, family, is Google an image of albino parents with their children, and you're not usually going to see that those albino parents have albino children. I'm sure that there's a greater percentage, a greater chance that they will have albino children. What's the point? Explain.
The person you referring to is not an original albino.
What do you mean original albino?
A black person with wide nose, nappy hair, but they're an albino. That's not an original albino. That's someone that has the genes passed down to them. An original albino is we haven't seen an original albino. White person with the white chalky skin, with the white chalky hair, with the purple reddish eyes.
So how do you know?
That's an original albino.
There's an original albino that's different than the albinos we see today.
Because the albinos we see today are mixed. You know they're mixed because, like you said, a black person have an albino. A Chinese person have an albino. So the albinos we see are not just albinos. You can't deny that. You're not talking about an albino that has an albino mother and an albino father. You're talking about somebody who's not 100% albino. So when you're making a point and you're not making it with an 100% albino, this is why you're getting confused. Because what you refer to as an albino is not an original albino.
I think I think that you are describing something that science hasn't told us exists.
But they have.
I don't think that science has told us that those people exist. You're describing something different than we see on the earth right now. You're saying that albinos in those populations are why those populations have changed. In actuality, those populations around the earth have changed due to genetic mutation, which makes mutations are very frequent. They're very frequent.
Everything comes from something.
Yes, but all humans on the earth have mutations. But certain mutations, it's something that happens in our our gene pool. In fact, some of those mutations might actually be caused by some of the rays of the sun. But we're not going to. That's a little bit too scientific. Let's keep it a little simpler. Yeah, but I think that the family at home might say, "What the heck is he talking about?" So because then we'd have to talk about some of the particles that come from the sun, other than the rays that we see, because there are a number of different types of rays that come from the sun, and some of them we don't see, right? So and some of those cause greater mutations. So, but let me say this, just to be absolutely clear and take the global view rather than the micro view. The alterations that we see in the human family that are different according to their complexion are due to lengths of time, mutations, and some of those mutations might become more advantageous in the environment that those people are in.
So you don't think mutation has to do with people mixing and mingling with one another? Because we see that happening all the time, and that's where most of it's coming from.
No, I don't agree with that.
So people mixing and mingling don't have nothing to do with the change and effect to the genes.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's not what we call a mutation. That's what I'm saying.
So what do you call a mutation?
A mutation is a change in the genetic code that actually is not necessarily created by intercourse. It's a change that occurs. We have tons of mutations that occur in the human genome, and some of them.
Cells have intercourse. Atoms have intercourse.
I'm talking about human intercourse. I'm not talking about.
This is all within a human, so you can't say I'm just talking about humans.
But that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
Cells and atoms are within humans,
But
so they have to do.
no disagreement. But I want to make a distinction between the multiplying of cells and the way that human beings are produced in terms of their reproduction. There is a difference. It's not the same. How could you say it's the same? A cell might actually divide to create new cells. Humans don't divide. You don't see me like growing a third arm and then all of a sudden that third arm's gonna be another dude and we gonna pop and lock together. It don't work that way. So
The problem with people that follow science is they don't understand that scientists don't fully.
People that follow science.
Just people in general that follow science. So how you said cells split. You never thought that maybe when they're looking at the cells splitting, that could just be two cells coming apart, like you and your wife when y'all finish having intercourse. Y'all come apart. But men don't think that in depth like that.
Say that again.
We reproduce by having sex.
Right.
When I finish having sex with my wife, let's say, we split from each other. Grass. I pull out and I go my way.
That is not the same thing.
It's the same, but if you're looking at, no, think about it, Si. If you're looking at, hold on. If you're looking at microcells through a microscope, right? They can't tell exactly what they doing. All they say is, oh, they splitting, but they don't know why.
That's not true, Brother Solomon.
That is
It's absolutely not true. You can actually watch a cell in the process of mitosis. You can actually.
While a baby is being developed.
Yes, you can.
But I'm not talking about it.
But you're talking about we're talking about the reproduction, the way that cells divide, the manner in which.
You're talking about after conception. I'm not talking about.
But it doesn't have to be after conception. We don't have to be talking about human cells. We could talk about amoebas.
Okay.
We could talk. There are other cells. We could talk about plant cells. So we could talk about skin cells. So you can see skin. You can see cells divide. You can watch cells divide. You can monitor cells divide. And usually what you see. But let me make the distinction so you understand my distinction. That's the difference between you can see one cell become two cells. That's not the same thing as when my wife and I have intercourse, because we are already two organisms.
But if somebody's watching y'all through a microscope, they don't know that. We not watching the cells continuously to say, okay, that cell just split.
You can watch the cells,
But they're not.
What do you mean they're not?
You telling me they watch cells round the clock?
You need to come with me to my wife works at a medical school.
All right,
and it's a research institution. There are people that watch cells all day long. That's all they do. And so
When they watch cells, they watching it in 2D. Are you familiar with that? See, this is my point. It's a whole lot y'all don't grasp. When they looking at the cells, the machine they has, it catches the cells in 2D. They just made a new, what is it called, an electron scope? They just made one. I forgot the guy's name. And it shows the micro life in 3D. It shows them moving. In the past, when they capture the images, it will kill the micro cells. So when they was getting visuals of the cells within the body, they killing them just to get the image. It's like when you go under what's that called? X-ray. That shit be killing your cells.
Yes.
It do.
Listen,
And it's the same way with the X-ray. They be killing them just to get a little glimpse.
there are different types of microscopes.
And they all kill.
No, they do not. Listen, I'll bring you my microscope from upstairs because I am are you telling me that when I look at a microscope through a regular lens, it's killing the cell?
Say that again?
When I'm looking at a microscope,
You mean when you're looking at a cell?
I'm looking at a cell in a microscope. Yes. I'm killing the cell as I look at it.
What kind of microscope? What are you talking about?
I'm saying to you that there are different types of microscopes.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. The microscope that most people are familiar with, they actually are nothing more than lenses that allow us to see things that we cannot see with the naked eye. Magnification.
And that.
But it does not create, the microscope I have upstairs does not create any form of radiation, or else I wouldn't have it laying next to me in the bed. That doesn't kill cells. And you can watch, depending on the magnification you have and the type of cell you're watching, you can watch those cells divide. Those don't mean that you're killing cells. And an X-ray is not a microscope. Those are different.
It's similar. Same process.
No.
They looking.
One of them is able to see things based on radiation and monitoring. No, it is not. It just is not. If you and I go down to Marshall's, or I think Marshall's the only place in Harlem you could get that. Family, that's sad. But if you go down and we pick up a microscope right now, those microscopes are not they're not producing any sort of.
They using any science research centers?
They're different types of microscopes.
Microscope, you talking about something?
You said any microscope. He said, I'm following what he said. And he said any microscope kills the cells that it observes. Yes,
They looking at the micro cells.
Family, you gonna have to play this. You gonna have to.
There's different microscopes.
The different types of microscopes. But I'm saying to you, but here's the point. You can watch cells divide on a microscope.
And how do you know that?
Let me finish. That does not use any sort of radiation to monitor those cells.
Okay, let me ask
And so those aren't killing things. I could actually take a strain of a bacteria, right? A household bacteria. I could take it from my dish rag. I could take it from my skin, and I could actually cultivate it in a petri dish and watch it multiply. That is asexual reproduction.
Okay.
That's not sexual reproduction.
Because a lot of things reproduce differently. Now, my question is this. You know micro cells do reproduce. You know that, right?
Yes, I am.
Are you talking about asexual reproduction or sexual reproduction? Those are different things.
The way we reproduce. Micro cells reproduce that way, right?
Two cells actually come together and create new cells.
They don't reproduce like that.
In a station wagon, they drive it together.
Seriously, they don't reproduce.
Generally not like that, no.
Generally not, or do they? Yes or no?
Generally, well, listen, there are a large
Different cells. I know that. That's why I said some of them reproduce different, but do some of them reproduce how we reproduce? By coming together and having offspring. Yeah, they do. You know they do.
Produce that way. But I will say to you that I'm sure that there are some cells
That do.
that that join and then divide.
Now, how would you tell the difference? How would you tell the difference between the cells that are reproducing the way we do and they're coming apart? How do you tell the difference between those and the ones that are just splitting, as you say? Because some do split. That's how they reproduce. They reproduce on their own.
Well, they're different types of cells.
So how would you?
And to say that they're different types of cells. And so when we recognize that there are different types of cells at play, we know that some cells reproduce asexually, but most cells reproduce in a manner that is different than multi-celled organisms. I'm talking about a cell.
We're not getting nowhere.
I'm talking about a cell.
Both right.
No, we are not both right. Family. Family. Family.
We're both right. He's speaking of one kind of cell, and you're not acknowledging. Hold on. You're speaking of cells splitting, reproducing that way, and I'm speaking of cells that come together how we do. Now we're both right. Hold on. Now we're both right because you do have cells that reproduce how we do, and you have cells that split and reproduce. So that's why I say it's pointless.
we said
Sex.
Oh, okay.
Sex.
Listen. He is describing a cell comes in, you know what I mean? He buys the other cell a drink. They go to the club. Cells don't do that. I'm teasing you. But you gotta understand that for the most part, that's not how cells reproduce.
So cells don't have sex, is what you telling me?
They call it asexual reproduction.
Cells don't reproduce the way we do.
I'm saying the majority of the cells that we are talking about, you can't be, listen, sometimes when you're overly simple, you can become, let me finish. When you become too simple, you lack specificity, and lacking specificity doesn't help me understand how things occur. I could describe the process of me getting into my house as a sexual act with my key going into a lock. And if I do, and I'm not being funny, I'm talking simply, but listen to what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you make things too simple, sometimes what happens is the lack of specificity then gets to the point where you're not really telling a story that's helpful. And so when I talk about how cells reproduce, I'm talking particularly about primarily the way that that cells reproduce. We're talking about. What do you mean how I've taught? I've watched them family. Brother Solace needs to take a science class. You need to take a science class.
I need to take a science class, mind you. Let's talk real, because you're not answering nothing I say. You beating around the bush. I said, hold on. I said, do cells reproduce like us? Some of them. You like, well, see, you not being straight and saying, yeah, some of them do reproduce how we do.
I did say that.
When I just asked him what he did, you're beating around the bush. You're like, you're making a joke out of things to like throw it off. But cells are living beings.
No disagreement.
So if they living beings, how you gonna connect it to a key in a lock? If cells are living beings, and we know all living beings reproduce how they reproduce, then we know that the cells within the man is gonna reproduce how men reproduce.
There's a great difference.
It's not a difference.
Wait. You haven't even heard me say what the difference is. There's a great difference in the way that organisms reproduce.
It's a different
I think that there are similarities. Definitely there are similarities. When you look at the way that, for example, a new sunflower is created, you can actually say that in some ways, that kind of reproduction is similar to human reproduction. You have what would be considered male aspects of plants and female aspects of plants, and they share genetic material and create new plants. So in some ways, you can say that's similar to the way that humans reproduce.
Plants go with the earth. So the earth is like the feminine and the plant is like the masculine.
That doesn't work that way. Plants actually have, some plants.
Plants get planted in the ground.
Some plants. Well, what is the role of the bee then? What does the bee do? Yeah. What's the role of the bee in the reproduction of plants?
You don't need a bee to make plants reproduce.
You need to take a science class.
You have to have a bee to reproduce plants?
Brother Solace, you need a science class. Because I'm telling you that, and this is funny, because when my wife sees this, let me listen. You have to listen. The earth is in crisis right now because we have entire colonies of bees that are dying. And if you do a little research on, this is not something that people aren't. Wait, listen. Hear me out. No, this is not a play on words. You have to hear how this works. You have to hear how this works.
Plants won't grow.
If there are no bees, many plants won't grow.
See the games? Many plants won't.
But
There are different types of ways that Brother Solace makes these things so simple that you can't talk with specificity. And I know that many of you at home, let me finish. I'm getting to it. Many of you at home are familiar with what I'm talking about, but Brother Solace needs to just do a little more reading. So I'm not going to beat him up on it, because when he does the reading, let me finish. Did you have coffee before you got here? You got to calm down for a second. Listen.
Let me say one thing. I talked for 2 seconds.
But here's the deal. You asked me, I never took the mic for an hour. You asked me, I can describe this in 45 seconds. This is not a complex thing, but you have to not interrupt so you can hear what I'm saying. So he interrupts. Not all plants. I said I'm going to take 45 seconds. I'm going to give you the mic.
My thing is this:
you cannot take more than 5 seconds.
You keep saying all.
But no,
and it's
when
like
you get the mic, you can
Listen to me, brother. Listen. Just listen. When I lay it out, then you can disagree or agree. But you have to listen to me lay it out.
You saying so
You're
much.
not listening to me lay. I'm saying 45 seconds. You can't wait 45 seconds? 45 seconds. Okay. You could time me at home, family. I said that bees are critically important to the reproduction of plants, and we are actually in a crisis right now because whole colonies of bees are actually at the point where they are dying. So this is what bees do. Bees go from plant to plant, and they carry some of the pollen with them to other plants. So we're talking about portions of the plant that we would consider female and portions of the plant that we would consider male. So what we're saying is that not all plants reproduce just from seeds. It doesn't work that way entirely. So you have to understand, what I was trying to say is that there's some things, in some ways plants reproduce in ways that you might say are similar to the way that humans reproduce. That's where we disagreed. And so that's why I say the role of the bee comes in.
We're not even on the same topic. It's like we both talking about two different topics.
Okay, so explain to me
now, pollinizing a plant's going to grow before that. Correct? Do the plant not come out the ground before the bees come along? See, he's
This is
playing
the chicken and the egg, brother. This is the chicken and the egg. This is a chicken and the egg. Listen.
Plants come before the bees.
Listen, this is the chicken and the egg. Because what happens is the bee helps pollinate the plant. The plant is then able to allow those seeds, those things to create, and then they grow. But without pollination, some of those plants will not be able to create those things that create other plants. So what I'm saying is, this is a chicken bee. He said, did the plant exist before the bee?
I didn't say that. I said...
You just said, did the plant exist before the bee?
You said that. What did I say, Sadetta?
You said the plant grows before the bee.
There you go.
But that's what I said.
That's not the same. That's a goofy shit. Oh, did the chicken come before the egg? I said simple shit. Before bees come along and put pollen on flowers and all of this, the flower was there.
We're talking about reproduction, though.
When a seed goes into the ground, that's reproduction. When an apple falls from the apple tree, it goes into the ground and it reproduces with the ground. This is how you get more apple trees.
That's only one part
See,
of the
he's
reproduction.
bullshit.
That's only one part of the reproduction. You see that many plants actually develop flowers. What is the purpose of a flower? What's the purpose of a flower?
As far as what?
In terms of reproduction. We're talking about reproduction.
What is the importance of your questions are not clear. That's like asking me what.
I think almost everybody knows.
That's like, as far as what? What do you speak? What are you talking about?
You are describing how seeds create new plants. I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but that's only one part of the reproduction. Listen. There is no there. You have to understand that pollination is part of reproduction, and pollination and no. It's a cycle. What begins? That's why I said it's a chicken before the egg. Because how do you know that? So what I'm saying to you is that the pollination is part of that process of creating new life. And some plants actually need assistance. And the only reason why we're getting to this is because Brother Solace was saying that there's cells that reproduce the way we do. And I said, well, there's some plants that reproduce the way we do. And he disagreed. So I'm talking about male parts and female parts. Family, Brother Solace needs you need a science class.
You ain't proved that.
What are you talking about?
Based on my understanding of what I heard Brother Solace say on a few videos, he believes that humans, melanated humans, were on all continents. And so there was not one original origin to a human being that then spread to the other continents. That is what I heard you say. Is that correct? So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, humans don't come from planets. So that's the first thing you got to grasp.
Planets?
Humans do not come from planets like trees. You came from your mother. You didn't come from the ground of a planet. So you have to grasp when you're dealing with the population of planets, if humans do not come from the planets, then where did they come from? So it's a lot of things y'all skip over. So when you making your point about the population of the planet, and it started with Africans in Africa, you're forgetting that people do not come from planets. So you got to grasp that. And this is what I'm saying. When I go deep, he have a hard time following. He like, huh? Mind you, it's simple.
I know Brother Solace thinks that was deep. That was not deep.
What's not deep?
He said people don't come from planets.
People do not come from
People,
planets. So
but
you trying
the
to-
reason why.
Give him the mic back so he can finish. So he don't cut you off.
if people do not come from the planet, then you cannot make a claim saying that this person derived here. People are not born out of planets. So how can you say that?
So let me ask you this then. How did they get to where they were? You saying they were always there?
They came here like every planet.
How?
What do you mean how?
How'd they come here?
However they chose. What's so hard about that? However they
It doesn't answer a
chose.
question.
Why
You
doesn't?
said
That's like
however
asking,
they
yo,
chose.
that's like asking, how did Sharnetta come here?
No, it's
We
not.
came however we chose. Foot, car, whatever.
No.
What if I said they came by something you don't have a clue what it is?
So
How would I word that?
So let me explain this to you. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this because maybe you're saying they come from some interstellar.
I'm saying the simplest thing. People don't come from planets. Now, you want to make the conversation goofy. So then you like, well, how did they come? I stay away from the goof because that's a dumb question if you really want to be technical.
No.
How did they come here? You know people are not born from the
I'm
planet.
trying to.
So there's really no need to ask that question.
No. What I'm trying to understand, I don't want to go too far afield, because sometimes then we're going to be talking about everything, and there's no way for us to get an understanding of anything, right? Because we're going to be talking about different things. What I'm trying to get an understanding of is the fact that you have described an idea that humans were always on all continents, and they did not originate from one section on the globe.
Right.
So I want you to explain to me how those people in those different places. And so, for example, there were always humans in China. There were always humans in Australia. There were always humans on what we would consider today North America, South America. So that is what I heard you say. So I want you to explain to me. So you're saying that you don't know how they got there.
I can say it's not simple.
Okay.
When Sharnetta and his family moved into their house, he went to his room. His kids went to their room. Same way. People hit the planet and they spread. But no one's from one place. People are not from the planet because you're about to get lost and say, oh,
Analogy.
how?
Because you're talking about how Sarnetta's family came to their house. They did come from one place. They came from the car that they came in, drove up in, and then they went to the different rooms. Mm-hmm. You're saying that they were always in those rooms.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they was always in the room. I said people
Okay.
from planets.
But wait. Before we go there, because that's going a little far further.
Go their way.
So So there are two things that you're saying. I'm trying not to say both things, but maybe I need to say both things so we're clear about what we're talking about. You're also arguing, not only are you arguing that humans were always on the different continents, but you're also arguing that human beings, I heard you say this, so I don't think I'm saying it incorrectly, but check me if I'm saying it incorrectly. You've also argued that human beings did not evolve from other life forms. You've also said that. Because I heard you say the creatures that you see that people show as earlier ancestors of modern human beings are monkeys, and humans didn't come from monkeys. I've heard you say that too. So talk to me about that a little bit.
As far as what? You heard what I said, so this is what I'm asking you. As far as what? You just said what I said.
Develop it with a little bit more detail.
As far as what?
So that you believe that human beings were always human beings. The modern human being was always the modern human being.
This is why the complication is coming in, because all you understand is the physical. A person is more than a physical human body.
I'm a priest.
So this is where you getting confused, because you keep saying, oh, men are in the physical, on the physical planet. What's so hard to understand about that?
What do you mean men are on the physical planet?
When men are on the planet, they're in the physical flesh, the darkness. But you're more than that. That's just a shell.
I have no disagreement.
But this is my point. When you're trying to deal with the creation of man, you're not including that. You're just including physical body, like
All right, let me try to hold on. Let me try to let Silas know. In this arena, in this ring where we at, there is something called show and prove. There is something called references, because that's what everybody, even the audience, they want to know, where you getting this from? Where could I go and look this up at? So when Brother Jabari asks you, brother, can you show me how or where? It's not a stupid question. He asking you, how do you come up with this? So that he could begin to do the research. So that's all he's asking you.
No, can I just say
wait, I'm gonna say something really quick. I'm not necessarily asking you for sources. I'm trying to get a sense of how you develop those concepts.
See, me and him on the same.
All right, yeah.
Sources are helpful.
References is one thing,
But you don't
but
always have to have
there
sources.
you go. It's just a matter of, how did you come to the equation?
How did you come to that understanding?
Now I come to that understanding. Did you see any people come out the ground?
No.
So then what's so hard to understand that people do not come from planets? Why do I have to give a reference for that? Why do I have to make it so complicated? If you don't understand that, then show me a person that was born out the ground, and then I'll say, okay, I'm done.
Let me break down my concepts, and then maybe you can agree or disagree.
Concept. It's a
Well, it's a concept because brother Salas, how old are you? You're
35.
Okay, so you've only been on the earth 35 years, and you know very well that there are people that were here before you. So it has to be a concept because you didn't see it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying people don't come from the ground.
Well, it depends on what you consider the ground. It depends on what you consider the ground to be. Because it is believed, and I think that we can make a very good argument, that there were single-celled... Wait, listen to my ideas. I tried to get yours, even though you made them very simple. Too simple. So simple that they're ridiculous. But here, wait. Let me lay this out so we can at least know what we're talking about. Because I don't think listen. So this is what happens. They're single-celled organisms that become multi-celled organisms that slowly, through the process of, in some instances, perhaps billions of years, they evolve into other organisms. And as they continue to evolve, what you begin to see is those organisms look different. They have different traits, sometimes very, very different traits. So in some ways, if you go far back enough, you're going to find a common ancestor to us and a fish, a common ancestor to us and a bird, right? But we wouldn't necessarily consider those animals that look like fish or look like birds to be humans. So what I'm saying to you is I'm asking you, where's the origin of what we would consider a human? So that if you say that humans don't come from planets, in some ways we do come from planets, but it depends on how far you go back. Because the same stuff that is made from the stars, that's made from planets, is the same stuff that we're made out of. But we're talking about billions of years of evolution. And in those billions of years, you begin to see different types of organisms differentiate. And as they differentiate,
With mixing and mingling.
of course it has something to do with mixing. It's not the only thing, though. Mixing and mingling is not the only thing.
Making it like, oh, they share the same traits, like it just happened.
Now, I was going to say the similar thing that Brother Jabari said, because we all know that all the atoms, we were not always here in this form. And like Jabari said, that will take you billions of years back, because we wasn't always in this shape and form. So we did come from the earth. We did come from planets.
That makes no sense.
Everything that exists outside of you exists in you, right?
Right.
There you go.
Say that again. Everything outside of me exists.
Right. All the stuff that exists outside of you exists within you.
Right.
As above, so below.
Not everything, but
As above, so below.
some.
Right.
I don't have all the same genetic makeup as a white person. So that's why I said some of the stuff we will all share
But you know,
in the life.
the reason why you don't have
But when we dealing with the planet, I've never seen a person come from the planet.
you're only 35 years old.
You seen it?
I'm only 45 years
So this is my point. So like you said, on your platform, there's a thing called show and prove. So I rest my case.
You want me to
he's
show?
just
Let me
talking.
give you. Now listen, I'm going to tell you that evolution it's still a theory,
I know that.
right? But it's a theory backed by so much. Wait, let me finish. 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 The stuff you're talking about is theory as well.
Nothing I said is theory. It's all common sense you can see.
Common sense means it's a theory.
It's
Come on, did you actually said that all humans were always on a planet and we got there in whatever way? You're talking about something that happened a very long time ago. So we're all talking about theories. But my theory, because you can't prove it.
I can't.
My theory, no, because I'm still saying something. I am still saying something.
Prove this to me.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Wait, let me finish. 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 All things actually have an origin. And that all things, if you go far back enough, are from the same place. It's absolutely true. And that is based on science, because you'll see, for example, that we share genetic traits with a fish. We share genetic traits with a fly. We share genetic traits with all sorts of different organisms. We even share some of the chemical traits as a rock. So in some ways, all of those things, you got to try to have a little bit more discipline. I have not been speaking long. All of those things have an origin, but what I'm asking you about, you're going very far afield. What I really want to know about is humans. That's what I'm asking you. That wasn't long, Brother Solace.
That was really long. I talk for 30 seconds, give him the mic,
But
then
you're
he
not
go
saying
on for like
anything.
4 minutes. I'm answering your question. You telling me show and prove. I said show me a human that came from Earth. Because all humans are born from other humans. You tell me, oh, we not old enough to see that. So you playing games. I don't play
Explain
games.
to me how that's playing a game.
You never seen the human come from the ground, the earth. Nobody have. All human beings come from other humans. You're playing games like
You have to, you know what you have to do though? You have to open the aperture on your lens. Because you're looking, because you're looking at a very short, listen to me, listen. You have to listen. You don't even let me speak 3 seconds before you interrupt. What you're looking at is a very small window of time. And so if you let me finish. I'm not insulting you at all. I'm trying to be absolutely
I've oversimplified this.
playing games. Because if you want to be technical,
So that if you wanna-
be technical, the solar system is the actual being, and the planets within it is the living organ, so to say. I don't know the word that we will use, because y'all don't break this down.
You're describing the solar system as an organism.
Huh? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
not.
saying that organisms have organs.
Right.
Organisms are made up of organs.
But I'm not saying it's us. It's a macro.
No, I get you.
Okay, as long as we on the same point.
with you.
I get what you're saying now. I got you. No, I got you now. I got you now, brother. The solar system is an organism
It's an organism.
with the micro life within it. Exactly.
Made up of organs.
Cells are the same. You agree?
On a certain level, yes, I do.
Do cells have organelles?
Yes.
So if cells have organelles, then that means cells have organs, because organelles are within cells. So I'm a human. I have organs within me. A cell is a living being. It has organelles within it. Same up above. The solar system has its organs within it, its microcells within it. So now when you saying, oh, people come from planets, a planet is not even a whole being.
But brother, wait
That's
a
like
minute.
retarded.
How can you say that the solar system is an organism, and the planets are part of that organism, and then you don't see that we are the same stuff as the planets? How could you not say there's a disconnect there in your thinking somewhere? Because you have to understand a solar system. A solar system is made up of a star and planets that rotate around it.
A solar system is a living being that has its makeup within, the same way as you do. So this is where you getting confused, because you're looking at the solar system and you're taking a perception that you see like this. You're a micro being looking at a macro being from within. Your micro cells, they're within you. You're basically trying to explain something from the outer perspective within. So you're like, it's a solar system in the planets, and that's not how it works.
I'm not even disagreeing with you. You're arguing about something we're not disagreeing on.
We are disagreeing that from planets.
Well, I don't know how in the world you could say that we are part of a solar system and then say we didn't come from planets. I'm saying to you that we are made up of the same.
Come from the organs.
Okay, take a look at this. Let me show you. You see this rock? Right?
It's a nice rock. I got a collection.
Yes. That's jasper, Cochabamba jasper, right? And I carry it because it's a sacred item to me. But as you look at it, you'll even see the eyes. Take a look at the eyes on it. It's a little freaky sometimes. But I actually look at that rock, and it helps me focus and center, right? And so as I do that, one of the things that becomes clear to me as I look at it is that I am made up of the same stuff that rock is made up of. That in a certain sense, all of those things in the universe are one.
The same item.
Right. And so how could you see it at that level, which is profound, and then not say that humans come from planets?
Because they don't.
But how could you say that we're all the same stuff and then humans don't come from planets?
You got organisms, you got organs within you, and you got microcells within you. Did the microcells come from the organs?
In some cases, yes.
See, here we go with this.
In some cases, yes.
In some cases, no, then, right?
Yes, in some cases, no.
Then I made my point.
No, you haven't made any points.
How I didn't if I...
You haven't made any points. Brother, the basic logic that he is using is faulty.
No, you're
Listen, you wanted me, listen, he wanted, because there's some things that,
Some of it yes, and some of it no.
what's wrong?
Point is made. If the sum is yes, then...
No. If you say all, and I say some yes and some no, then all is,
Do microcells come from organs?
yes. But see, you don't understand basic logic. So when you say do microcells come from organs, you are actually saying do all microcells come from
That's
organs?
what you said. I'm just asking a simple question.
So that's why I answered you. Yes and no. By the way, I'm really trying to come to this brother's turf because what is he talking about? Microcells? Are you talking about cells? What are microcells?
Cells.
Okay, so I'm coming to your turf. I'm even using your terminology. You talking about microcells?
Microcells?
They just get called cells, brother.
Well, I call them microcells because...
Wait. Let me say this. I'm not trying to make you seem. let me explain why I said that, because you're going to take offense to it. What I'm saying to you is this. What I'm trying to do is, in order for us to have a conversation, I'm coming to your turf. We were talking about where humans came from, where they had their origin from, and you actually moved all the way out to the solar system, and I went there with you. No. I went there with you. I just want to talk about the difference between a monogenesis and a polygenesis to human beings. That's what this conversation started with. But you started talking about the solar system. And so I went there with you.
That conversation.
No, because we haven't settled on anything.
Can I say something?
Sonetta, we have not settled on anything.
We ain't gonna settle on this.
Can I say one thing?
Why not?
Hold on, brother. I just want to say one thing, because you playing games.
Now, when the people see this in the comment, they ain't gonna.
The people don't settle nothing. We the teachers. If the students is the students, how the students is settling the teachers. Me and him got to settle this. But my thing is this: you're playing games because scientists call them microcells. Also, sometimes they don't add the micro. Sometimes they do, and you know that. But you're playing games, saying, "Why are you saying micro?" So this is what I mean. It's like you playing games.
What I'm saying?
Now, mind you, I said we are as above, so below. So when I say micro cells, it's because we're cells. Are our bodies not cells? Is a body not a cell?
The term that you're using, biologists. No, wait. I'm just trying to explain something. Biologists don't use the term microcell. The term microcell is actually something that's used in mobile computing for cell phones. No, I'm not a cell. It's made up of cells.
A cell means a body. That's what a cell means. It don't matter what size the body is. A cell is a body. Your body is a cell. You can't say it ain't, because you just said that we're the micro within the macro of the solar system. So if we're microcells in the solar system,
Virtually no scientist, no theologian, no philosopher that would say that we are cells.
when you look up cells, what is the definition?
Okay, why don't you do that right now and read it to the family? Because I think
I want you to read.
No. The reason why I'm not doing that is because I want you to understand that I'm not saying anything that's coming from Jabari
A cell
Osaze.
is not a body.
What you are doing. Okay,
A cell is not a body.
why don't you just look at biology cell? You see that? You can click it if you want, and you can read it.
The cell is the basic structure, functional, and biological unit of all known living organisms. All living organisms are cells.
Did you notice the S on the end? You asked me if I am a cell, and I said I am made up of cells.
Read this.
No, those are not games.
No, you're playing games. I said your body. I said all bodies are cells.
No, you said, are you a cell? You gotta have.
Are you a
better memory
body?
than
Are
this.
you a body?
We need to get this brother some Gitco below.
Are you a body?
I.
He's playing games, OG, and I know you see it, man.
He said it less than 45
Man, I'm
seconds
just sitting
ago.
back letting
See,
y'all-
OG, you not being real, man. You got to be real. He's playing games.
Here, brother Salas
I heard him when he
asked
said,
me,
"Are you a cell?"
a cell?
Right.
And I said, I am made up of cells.
And then I said all bodies are cells.
No. Then
You're
you
playing
said
games
I'm
like, oh, that's
playing
two
games.
different things.
It is-
It's the same. I asked you if you a cell. You wouldn't answer that, so I said, are all bodies cells?
Just read the definition
And it
of
said all
You just
organisms
read.
are cells.
It says, notice the S.
All organisms, meaning any organism, him, a solar system, a micro thing, anything that's an organism.
Yeah, right.
Is a cell.
No, that is not what it says.
OG, read this, please.
You need to read
Read it,
it.
please.
You need to read it. Wait, let me
It's a
turn it
deep
on.
thing. It's
Brother
crazy.
Salas,
Read
you
it.
either you need an English class
Don't do that.
or a
We not
biology
doing
class.
that. We not
I don't even understand what you're not understanding here.
Read it.
I don't know what you're not
pulled that
understanding
up, now
here.
you read it.
Okay, family. I just went to Wikipedia. We're not doing anything complex.
Read it.
Okay, let me read it. Let me read it. Let me read it. Let me read it. You are too excited. You have to slow down a little bit. No, listen very carefully. The cell is the basic structural, functional, and biological unit of all known living organisms. A cell is the smallest unit of life that can replicate independently, and cells are often called the building blocks of life.
Pull up what
That
he
is
said.
what,
Matter of fact,
brother, that's what you
no,
read.
Take this in. Are all bodies cells?
Is he actually asking me to pull that up? Family, you heard the description.
Yeah.
Are all bodies cells?
Because you're not answering that. You basically read
No, I have answered it. I have answered it.
the breakdown of.
I said,
Can I say something right
Go
quick
ahead.
while you doing your thing?
go ahead.
You have macro and micro. Now you're playing games. We technically call micro cells within us cells, and we call ourselves organisms. But if you look up a cell, it has the same genetic makeup as us, meaning it has organisms, it has a head, it has everything we have.
A cell has a head?
Forget it, brother.
A cell has a head?
A cell doesn't have a head.
Why would a cell have a head?
What do you see a cell as? You said a cell was a living being.
A cell doesn't usually have a head? What is he talking about? Yo, brother.
Sperm cells don't have heads?
What'd you say?
Sperm cells don't have heads?
Wait a minute. Did you hear him change the question?
Yes,
You changed the
sperm has
question.
heads.
You changed the question.
How? We talking about
When you say
cells.
cells have heads,
But I didn't.
what you should imply, what you're saying is,
Do cells have heads?
you know what I'm going to say, and you're going to get frustrated. Some cells do, and most cells do not.
Well, let's deal with the ones that do. And
what
this is my point. This is like a stupid conversation.
Brother, you are-
Hold on, can I say one thing? You have to keep track of. Hold on.
wait,
I didn't say nothing. I'll tell Sarnetta then. Sarnetta, you have to keep track of his debates because they're all bad.
Oh!
So there's a common thing. When I watched the debate with you and Sanchez, same thing.
Okay, wait a minute.
It's like confused. It's like goofy.
Hold on, let's get into that.
Family, I want you to hear something. I brought this brother here and I want to build with him. But when he just said that, you should understand that that's the terminology for Brother Jabari taking my gloves and flushing them down the toilet. Because now when I go in, you're going to say, why did you beat that brother up?
How you beating me up?
Because you better understand that this brother is, no, I'm saying I'm about to beat you up intellectually. Because you need to understand that, first of all, in order to make an argument, you have to listen to counter arguments. And you have to listen to them for more than 3 seconds. Second of all, the other thing that you're not able to do is it is impossible to have a conversation with you at times because you are all over the place. This conversation is about the origins of humanity. And he wanted to talk about solar systems. And you heard me say, family, you're going too far afield. I actually said that. But I went there with him.
You're playing games because you.
And the reality is that he has very simple, he has a very simple understanding. And when you try to go in depth, he struggles.
You're not going in depth.
So he changes the subject. This conversation is about the origin of humanity. That's how it started.
It didn't start. We weren't even talking about the origin of humanity.
Okay, now what is it?
We're talking about the origin of human beings, of humanity. That's what we're talking about, right?
Do you agree?
The origin of human beings come before planet Earth.
And that's what we talking
And this is my point. Y'all are not clear in what y'all speaking of. He's like, we talking about the origins of humans. Where? You cannot, you gotta include that.
Now,
That's my point.
now here we go. Here we go. We on the clock. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna let you lay down your premise right now, and it's on you right now. Without nobody saying nothing, nobody cutting you, give us the origin of being.
Of human beings.
Of human beings.
If you don't say the right thing, it's going to be a problem.
Give us the origin of human beings. Are you clear with that?
Where? That's my saying. Y'all understanding is limited
Tell me
to.
what you wanna do this
Y'all
time.
understanding is limited to Earth. So when you say give me the origins of human beings, and I say where? To you, it's like, I don't, what does he mean?
Jabari?
Where?
Because Jabari, go ahead, man.
Let me put it to you like this. Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing. We all micro cells that got egg cells, right?
Right.
So at one point in time in our existence, we were all micro cells. Or like you like to say, cells. We were all cells. Hold on. Now, wait.
Come on, son.
Can I say one thing?
Hold on.
If
You're going to give us the origin of human being?
But Silas, is a cell a human being?
some are.
Really? Mm-hmm. You think a cell is a human being?
But hold
Some
on,
are,
Jabari,
some and
stop, man.
some are, some are,
Stop.
some are animals,
We're gonna just let him talk. Go ahead.
plants. You got
Start it. You got the floor. Go ahead.
all different living beings, but
So we can see you.
you pretty much threw me off of what I was saying because y'all playing too much.
It's all over. I'm gonna restart it.
I
Stop
want to
it.
understand what you're saying so we can talk about
Then
it.
stop laughing and joking.
Yeah, stop laughing,
Cause it's,
Jabari. Come on, man.
I could go that route and start ODing, but I'm trying to keep it level.
You said some humans are cells.
Oh, man, come on. What we are dealing with right now is the origin of human beings.
Reset.
Right now, we are going with our brother Silas. Now you see the clock? I'm starting it right now. I'm giving him the mic. Let's go, my brother.
Now, as I stated, you said the origin of human beings. Now, every human you seen was an egg cell that got a sperm cell at some point. So you know every human that you see was in cell form first. So when you say the origin of humans, this is a dumb question. You have to be specific. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. He's laughing like the origin of human being. The origin of human beings do not start with a planet. It does not start with the body that you see now. So when you say explain the origin of humans, my question is when? And this is where y'all lost that, because you have no understanding that you was a microcell that got an egg.
Right now,
You don't see yourself as
give us
that.
the information to tell us the
Try
origin
to
of
build
human
it. Try to
beings.
build it.
When? When?
Whenever you want to build it. Whenever.
Human beings start from the atom.
Go ahead. There you go. Go in.
It starts from the atom. What do you mean go in? Life starts as an atom. It builds itself up to cells, organisms, solars. It goes through the levels. So in a nutshell, you could say the sperm cell ascends up from its smallest level, which would be an electron. And it ascends up through the life, the different levels of life. So you have atom level of life. That's a size thing. You have cell level of life. That's a size thing. We're organisms. That's a size thing. The life is within the life. You grasp?
I'm letting you. If you're finished, then you can.
I don't want to play the game. I don't want to play the games, brother. I don't want to do the debates how y'all do them. I do debates simple. If you don't grasp, then you take the mic and say what you don't grasp. Don't wait till I finish.
When you said I interrupted you, so I'm trying to be respectful. I'm trying to be respectful. I really am. I really am.
Okay, now you sure you done?
Well, he asked a question, so maybe if I try to clarify, I'll give him.
stopped it, and
I
we're gonna
don't.
go back to his-
I don't have a problem. Wait. I don't have a problem giving him the mic back if I clarify and then he answers the question differently. I don't have a problem doing that. I actually want to have a conversation. I'm not. Yeah, but the challenge that I'm having.
You
gotta let him talk.
Wait a minute.
That's my point. Why we can't just have dialogue?
Because it wasn't working before. It wasn't working before.
It's not working because you just interfered. He was like, we was about to have regular dialogue, like regular.
No. I looked at you because you interrupted me before I finished.
Dialogue with.
So this is the deal. I think that what I was trying to get at is something that I heard Brother Salas say when he was actually on your couch, and also when he was sitting on 125th Street by himself, and also on 125th Street with Brother Sanjetti. So that's what I was trying to get at, and I heard him say something several times that I didn't agree with. So I wanted to talk to him about that. I want to talk about the origin of human beings, and I actually don't disagree that human beings start out as single cell organisms and continue to grow. There's no disagreement about that. But I'm not talking, when you're a single cell organism, you're not a human being. So what I'm saying, what I'm asking him is, you gotta let me finish. What I'm asking him is when did human beings, folks that are in this type of form, begin, and where? So I'm not necessarily talking about a time frame. I'm talking about how we got to where we are. And I was also challenging him on the concept that human beings were all over the globe, like human beings were on all continents, and that the other ethnicities and quote unquote races did not come from Africans. And then also there are three parts to this. The other thing that I'm well, I want to lay it all out because I never got a chance to. The other thing that I disagreed with him on is that human beings didn't evolve from other beings that we might not consider human beings today. That we actually evolved from other beings. And so there are three levels to this that I disagreed with him on.
Brother, I never said
It was, well, you were talking about monkeys. You said humans don't come from monkeys. I heard him say that on a video. So yeah, so that's what he said. So these are the three things I'm disagreeing with him on. I'm disagreeing with him on. Let me. No, I'm going to clarify that monkeys, as we call them today, and human beings have a common ancestor. They look a lot. I think if you looked at them in terms of fossils, they would look a lot more like what we would consider monkeys today, right? But technically, that other being is not a monkey. A monkey is what we could go see at the zoo, or so that's what we're saying. So the three things. So let me say this. Let me isolate those three things, and I'm gonna give you the mic. Let me isolate the three things. That's possible. But let me. But let me. Wait. But let me. I know that. What I'm trying to do. I really didn't interrupt you. What I'm trying to do is isolate what the three things are. And there are some things within those three things that we will agree on. I'm not saying we're going to disagree on everything, but these are the things I disagree on. And I wanted him to talk about. I want him to talk about, one, how he argues that humans were on every continent. They didn't have a singular origin on one part of the globe. I want him to talk about I disagreed with him on the concept that Africans were not the original human that then grew is not the right term, changed into other types of beings on other parts of the globe. And I also wanted to disagree with or talk about the concept that humans evolved from other beings that we would not necessarily call humans today. Those are the three things that I wanted to talk about.
When I say albino,
There you go. Now I'm getting the bill.
when I say albinos mixed and mingled with the original melanated people of the continents, why do you keep saying it like as if that's not the same thing you said? So when you say that people evolved from the animals or whatever, the only difference between what we saying is I'm saying they evolved because of the albino mixing in, and you're just saying they evolved. But we really have no disagreement. You get my point?
Huge disagreement.
How?
Those are huge disagreements.
How?
Those are not the same thing.
It's not a big disagreement. It's a simple one thing. You believe that animals evolved from nothing, climate or whatever, and I believe that they evolved from the mixing and mingling of the ancient albinos and the ancient original people that were here.
Brother, those are very different things.
It's not. Because what you calling the hominids and stuff, wouldn't that be the ancient people? So it's the same thing.
Okay.
You trying to make a debate out of something that we really need to be clear on with each other.
Well, there are similarities.
That's why I said we don't need to really debate. We need to get an understanding of each other.
I'm trying to get
because I don't learn how you learn and you don't learn how I learn.
Sure,
So our perspective is different, but it's not necessarily debatable. It's a matter of they're saying the same thing from the way they learn. So I learn from the life. You learn from comedic science or whatever. So this is where the problem's coming in. It's not that we saying different things. This is why the debate is retarded. And it's confusing like that. Because we not really saying different things. We both on the same conscious. You just learn one way, I learn another way. You got your own wording and things. I got my own thing. But what you saying is the same thing I said. I don't see how you don't see that.
From my perspective, we said things that were very different. And so you said that people evolve because of their mixing with albinos. I do not agree with that at all. Not at any sense do I agree with that. And
you tell me?
and I think that
Deal with that right quick. Why?
when the people evolve from albinos.
Mixing and mingling.
Well, what does the word evolve mean, first of all? Second of all, when you say mixing and mingling, listen, I'm telling you right now. Human beings change because of their environment.
Tell me why.
And so,
albinos were
and
not
so,
chain called
and so
chain.
albinos
Why
in,
would that not be?
are you going to let me
'Cause you're not-
answer the question, or are you going to let, because I can sit here very quietly and listen to you, but if you're not able to listen, it's going to be very difficult for us to have a conversation. So in terms of the way that evolution occurs, it's not because there are albinos that create those differences in evolution at all. It's because human beings go to different places. There are mutations. Some of those mutations are advantageous in particular environments. And after long periods of time, if you don't listen, you cannot see. He didn't even hear what I said.
I asked you a simple question.
And I answered it.
You not. I said, why are the albinos not the reason for the change? You didn't explain why the albinos are not. You just told me your perspective. Oh, they changed because of climate, blase, blase, blase. But I asked you, why couldn't the change have come from the albinos mixing and mingling? Because you obviously believe in albinos.
All right, let's try it again. Go ahead and explain.
Well, albinos are not mythological people. They actually, but the changes that occur did not occur because of albinos.
Even though albinos-
We would have to in some ways argue that there are people that look like Africans on every continent, and then there were albinos that mixed in, and then those people look very different. If you look at people on, for example, in Australia, they look very different from people who in China, who look very different from people who are in Britain, who look very different from people who are in South Africa. So if these are all the same people that mixed in with albinos, why would we not have the same end point? Why wouldn't all human beings look the same if we all changed because of intermingling with albinos? The reality is that that's not what created the
Making a
changes.
point off stuff I didn't say.
You said the changes
I said you had
occurred.
different melanated people on every planet. I said different melanated people. You said, oh, it's all one person. All one. You playing on words.
Well, let's be really clear that sometimes you change the words that you've said, and it's possible that he means something different. Wait, hear me for a second. Hear me for a second. It's possible. Wait, listen. It is possible that you mean something that I don't necessarily understand. And so what you have to do sometimes is take a little bit more time to expound so that you're clearer.
I was clear.
Because now, no, you weren't clear to me. Now you just said there were different melanated people on every continent. What he actually said, you have to listen. What he actually said was there were melanated people on every planet. He didn't say different before. Now, he might have meant different, but if you don't take the time to develop your ideas, it's possible that people that are listening, you have to listen. Brother Solace, you have to listen. It's not possible to have a debate if the person will not listen. It's not possible.
This is what I mean by nitpicking.
It's not
He's
nitpicking.
bringing up what I said with Sanjay.
Family, words mean something. I'm talking about what he just said. Words have meaning.
Where did this come from?
And
What I
sometimes,
said with Sanjay and them, right?
okay, can you all listen for a second? Words have meaning. And sometimes if you say something one way, it's not clear to the hearer what you actually mean. And that's the reason why I'm asking you to expound, to say a little bit more, because when you do that, sometimes you get clearer on someone's position. And I've asked you many times during this conversation to expound on your position because I'm not sure if I understand it thoroughly. Family, you have seen me ask him several questions without even laying out what I'm arguing. Because why am I arguing with him when I don't understand his position entirely? I want to understand his position entirely. Brother Salas said there were melanated people on every continent. Now he just said, wait, you have to hear this. Both of you should hear this. Then he said there were different melanated people. So that if you had said that before, I would have asked you to clarify what you mean.
Well, if you've seen the Sanjay video, then you've seen me say that.
That there were different melanated people? I don't remember him actually saying that phrase. But I want you to build the argument.
He want to hear it now.
I'm going to say to you, Sa Neter, how many times did you hear him say that? You watched the video once. Did you watch the video or did you just listen to
Something
what
that
he
I said on
said?
his show when I was by myself, when I was on Sanjetti. When I was there, I said you had different groups of melanated people on every continent. Now, if I just now said, oh, you got melanated people on different parts, we're talking about what I said then. So I shouldn't have to say every exact word. You know where I stand. Different melanated people.
I just did. He said, brother Salas said, and you family, I hope you see that I'm really trying to listen to him. I'm not trying to disrespect him. I disagree with what he's saying, but I want to understand what he's saying so I can tell him why I disagree. He's not granting me the same benefit here. But what I want you to understand is, Brother Salas said that the differences in humans occurred because they all evolved due to interactions with an albino. And I'm disagreeing with him. That is not why the differences occurred. That's not why the differences occurred.
Why?
I already said to you that if we all had different interactions with the albino and that's how we changed, then you would assume that that there would be the same product at the end.
Now, this is how I'm saying he's playing games. Because I clearly just made my point that I said there were different groups of melanated people. Even if you wasn't clear on that, you was clear on that when you just said what you said. So this is my point. He's playing games purposely. Because I see, and you talking, I already cleared up what I meant, what I said, and then you go right back to doing the same thing again. You're playing games. I don't do that.
Listen.
Keep it 100. Or I don't want to. This is stupid.
Family. I'm not sure why he thinks I'm playing games. I'm trying to understand him, and he's saying things that are all over the place. And then when he gets to a point, he says very little. I don't think anyone grasps what you're saying. We're asking you how different people occurred on different planets. If you ask Sonetta to describe your position, Sonetta cannot explain your position. The people at home can't explain his position. Partially for two reasons. One, because the position don't make no damn sense, first of all. And second of all, he's not expounding enough for me to even understand it. This is the question. This is the question. No. Because you're not listening. You're not listening, and because you're not listening, we're not able to have a dialogue. So listen to what I'm saying. What I'm asking him is, this is not about an insult. He says I'm playing games.
Everything I said.
I don't think anyone understands what you said.
So this is my point. What I want to say is this, though.
Go ahead.
After I clearly cleared up what I'm speaking of, you keep repeatedly saying I'm saying stuff I didn't.
So that's why we want you to.
That's why I keep cutting him off. It's not about I already said what I said.
But
then he gets the mic and says what I didn't say.
Solace, is it possible I don't
What's the point of that?
your position?
You
No, don't take, brother.
I need to say this. Wait. He needs to understand. I want him to hear this. I'm not trying. This is not a game. I'm trying to understand your position.
I don't want to be.
He's not listening. He's not listening. I'm trying. Listen. Just listen. Can you listen? 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 This had nothing to do with Sanchez. This is about me and Brother Salas. Listen. No, Brother Sanchez and I clearly had a debate. This is a discussion. And in order to have a discussion, everyone needs to understand the positions, the ideas, the concepts, so they can discuss things. I don't believe I'm going to disagree with everything that you say, but there are some fundamental differences in our understanding of the origin of humanity. So I actually asked you to expound on a few of the things that you said. And some of the things that you're saying now sound a little different than the things I heard before. And that obviously means that one of two things. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say that he's actually changing what he's saying. What I'm saying is that perhaps you have to listen. Listen, if you can't listen, how can you have a conversation?
I don't do this. You telling me I said something different than I said before?
No. No.
So you're painting.
If you listen for a second, you'll hear that that is not what I'm saying.
Here we go.
Listen, I do not believe, I'm giving this brother the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying he's saying something different. I'm saying perhaps I didn't fully understand his position. That's why I wanted him to really expound so I could understand it. But instead of doing that, he asked a few questions and he wanted me to respond. I don't think I still completely understand.
Don't respond. Just let him.
I tried to let him speak. I'm not interrupting him. This brother doesn't let me speak for 3 seconds. So explain to me how the origin of human beings and how. Listen, this is frustrating.
That's my point.
This is frustrating. This is frustrating.
This is retarded. This is a waste of time, brother. I already explained my point. I asked you why. Do you believe it's not the albino? You didn't answer that.
But no,
you
I did
beating
answer
around the
that.
bush. You didn't.
I answered the question.
You believe in albinos, but you don't believe they had anything to do with people changing in their appearance. That's retarded.
I'm saying.
How you believe in albinos and you don't believe they got something to do with people changing? If a Spanish person and a black person have sex, that baby don't gonna look like neither one of them. And you sitting here telling me that don't make no sense. You see everything I'm saying happening now in today times. If a white person mate and mingle with a black person, you know goddamn well that baby don't look black or white. It's its own race. You know that. But you're sitting here playing little kid childish games like you don't understand. And this is what I'm talking about. I don't do that. I deal with common sense. You telling me, oh, we changing our DNA because of climate. That's stupid. You know that. People go everywhere they go. Don't nobody change unless they mix and mingle. You know that. So why we sitting here playing dumb games? I did that with Sanjetti. But you supposed to be wise, and you're playing now. Like, I'm not going to play with somebody that's wise. I know you not stupid. You reaching to debate me. Debate me when we got something to debate on. You just reaching to have an argument, a discussion, whatever you want to call it. But it's like we not getting nowhere. That's why this shit's so stupid like this.
Nah, it's not stupid. Don't
It's stupid, brother. If you watch it, it's stupid. It's like the Sanchez and his debate.
I want you to understand that I'm. No, wait. I want you to understand. Wait, can I say this? Can I say this? I need to say this. I want you to understand that I'm trying not to be offended by what you're saying. And I'm really reaching not to be offended. Because you said everything I said is stupid. It don't matter where we are. We could be on 125th Street. That would still be offensive.
Definitely.
You said that everything I said is stupid. You said I'm playing games. All I'm trying to do is understand your position.
I feel you playing.
Now, there's some things that you've said that I think are ludicrous, but that's not because I'm playing games. There's nothing wrong with me thinking that something you said is ludicrous. There's some things I said that you think are ludicrous. I didn't assume that you're playing games.
So why you feel
Well, you disagree because you said that what I said was stupid. That's why I feel disrespected.
It's like crazy.
No, ludicrous.
Crazy. If I think what you said,
Ludicrous and crazy are not really the same term. Ludicrous means that what you have developed doesn't follow based on the facts of the argument. And so I'm saying that what you're saying doesn't make sense.
you want to disagree with me.
And so I want you to hear this is not about ludicrous and crazy. Hear what I'm saying.
Alright, I feel like Brother Jabari is reaching to debate on things that I say without fully understanding what I'm saying. So as opposed to me and this brother actually vibing and him getting an understanding of what I'm saying, he's basically hearing what I'm saying so that he could try to shoot it down. And this is why we not getting anywhere. Because he's not even clear if we in disagreement. So it's a lot of things he's saying. It's not even different than what I said. If you go back and look at the video, it's a lot of things I said that's no different than what he's saying. He telling us that albinos is a real thing, but they had nothing to do with the change in people. Mind you, how is that possible? How do you have albinos and they don't got no effect on life? We all melanated, you get albinos pop up and they don't affect the life in no way. And this is his mindset. No, it was climate that did the change, not the albinos. So you telling me a white man and a black man mate, a white man and a black woman mate, and there's no change in the seed? He's basically telling me albinos have nothing to do with the change of people. So my point is this: why are we even sitting here having this conversation? Because that's stupid. You acknowledge there's albinos, but they had nothing to do with the change in people. We see a white man and a black woman have sex, and then the baby don't look like neither one, but albinos don't have nothing to do with the change of people. And this is not playing games. So this is what I mean. I don't want to play games where I'm making common baby sense, and then you looking to disagree with it with stuff that don't really mean nothing. Nah, brother, we didn't change how we look because of albinos or because of a different race. We changed how we look because we went somewhere. Like, come on. How is that? How do you even compare the two? So I'm looking for you to be like, nah, that is stupid. But it's like none of that. You looking at him like, nah, that's deep. And I'm lost. Like,
Now,
how?
see what it is I'm sitting back. I don't want to enter into it. Where I'm voicing my opinion. Oh, he's right and you wrong. I'm letting y'all two deal with it. That's why I'm sitting back.
But you got to keep him on some type of...
Now, let me ask you. Are there anything you said that could be wrong, brother? Because it's like you can't accept the criticism when you're wrong or something like that.
Who criticized me?
As far as the information I'm talking about, like the
Yeah.
knowledge.
Who criticized it?
I think he opposed what you were saying.
He's opposing
Trying
things.
to debunk what you were saying.
He's trying to debunk and oppose things I'm saying, and he doesn't understand nothing I'm saying.
But you have to allow the person to speak, brother. And even if you disagree with them, you getting the mic back. And when you get the mic back, you say, well, brother, here's where you went wrong at. I never said this. This is why you don't understand me. Because I'm talking about this and you talking about that. Just one time. Just going in on one time.
If I tell a brother, yo, there's different races of melanated people, because this is where this came from. So I said there's different races of melanated people on every continent.
Explain that.
Hold on. Before I explain that, he got on the mic after that and said the brother said his point was the brother said there was one melanated group of people on every planet. How do you get...
You know where you get that from?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
You know where he
This
get that
takes
from?
hold on. This takes away from my point.
Let me tell you where
He
got
didn't get that from me.
He got that from you sitting right there just now.
But he was bringing it up from a past
Right, but
debate.
he's-
I wasn't going in. I'm not saying.
What you just said, Silas.
Really clear. You have said several times that we are not necessarily disagreeing. And I admit to you that I don't disagree with everything that you've said. I never said I disagree with everything you said. But what I am saying is that there were some fundamental disagreements, some important disagreements.
But the things that you-
And so what I was trying to get an understanding of is your position so we could discuss the disagreements. Now, if you think that that is playing games, I am sorry for
I
that.
think it's playing games where you repeatedly keep saying something that I didn't say.
Well, brother,
even if
even at this time, even in this time, you said it three different ways. So why in the world would you expect me to know which one you mean? You said there were melanated people on every continent. You said there were different melanated peoples in every continent, and then you just said there are different melanated races of people on different continents. You said it in three. That's three different ways. No,
that's two.
that's three because melanated. When you say no, it isn't.
Different races, different groups of people is the same.
No. When you say races, it implies something very different.
Makes me like this.
It implies something very different.
Groups of people, races. What's like? Come on.
There's a difference between groups of people. What do you mean? There's a group of people standing out right in front of in front of 200 West 131st, and there's a group of people sitting in this living room. But when you say races, when you say races,
We talking about unity. See, now we're
No, hold on.
We're talking about unity.
Just because we're in a group
we were
don't mean
not
it's a
talking
group.
about that.
it doesn't mean
We
that
were
there
talking
are fundamental differences.
You get
So
mine.
when you say the word races, now you're saying something different. That's why when you say different groups,
If I say it was different groups of people on every continent, or I say it was different races of people on every continent,
I'm listening.
now we know when people mix and mingle, that brings about a change. We all know this. Climate thing, it's evolution theories. It's still not fully developed. Yet you're going with that over common sense. That's a fact. It's a fact that when people mix and mingle, you get a new race, so to say. We may not call them a new race, but it's a new race. So if a black man and a white woman have a baby, that baby's not actually black or white.
Not always.
He's like mixed.
Not always.
Kind of his new.
Not always.
Why not?
Well, okay. So let me give you an example of why would I disagree with you.
In real life, I look 100% back to you.
What do you mean 100%?
When I walk down the street, they say, "Papi, you Dominican, boom, boom, boom."
Oh,
Dominican-
and you telling me,
Wait. No,
he
wait,
do
wait,
it.
wait,
Once he
wait,
said
wait,
that.
wait, wait.
he do not look
He's
black.
confusing two
No,
different
I didn't
things.
say him, but to me,
He's
he look black.
confusing.
But
He's
you,
confusing
yeah.
two different things. The nationality is sometimes different than race. There are people on the in the country of Dominican Republic who have probably not been mixed with anything but African, but they're still Dominicans. That's different. That's different.
I don't agree with what you said.
It's true. It's a fact.
You said Dominicans.
There are Dominicans in the Dominican Republic that have not been mixed.
I agree.
They are Africans.
That I don't agree with. That's where the
Well,
disagreement
why wouldn't they
came.
be Africans?
Why would they be? They not in Africa.
What is that supposed to mean?
You said they
You know
Africans.
what Malcolm
they
X?
ain't
Malcolm
in
X
Africa.
said if a kitten is born in the oven doesn't make it a biscuit.
Right.
It makes it a kitten. Just because you were born on another continent doesn't mean you're not an African.
But that's only that only counts if you saying that all people derived in Africa and migrated out. So that makes sense to you, but that's where we
I'm talking about
disagree.
people who recently migrated from the continent of Africa. I'm not talking about people that migrated tens of thousands.
So you telling me
of years
people
ago.
recently migrated from Africa to DR?
Sure. Yeah, when I'm saying recent, I'm saying within the last 150 years.
And there were no people in DR prior to that,
But that doesn't mean that they mixed with them.
huh? No, you said the people of DR is Africans.
That's not what I said. I said there are people. I didn't say all the people.
There are people
I said
that are
there
Dominicans
are
that
people who
just
are in
have
the Dominican
African.
Republic that have not been mixed with other groups of people.
They
They
just
came right from Africa,
Africa.
and they've been mixing with other people who didn't mix.
And my point is, that only makes sense if you believe everybody migrated out of Africa
Why would you
and
say that?
spread out.
I'm talking about recent migrations. I'm not talking about tens of thousands of years ago.
So you saying you talking about recently Africans went to DR?
Yeah. 150 years?
No, I can agree with that because Africans went to Canada 150 years ago. But what do that got to do with the point? See, I said
What I'm saying
why
is
can't
that-
the DR
wait,
person
hear
not
me.
have the African
But
blood
hear
if it's
me.
recent?
But hear me. I'm talking about someone that we would consider African. Someone that has African.
No, I got what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm saying those that were not mixed and mingled in with the Africans that came 150 years ago, so to say, wouldn't they have been DR? People of DR on their own without the African?
Absolutely. I'm not
Oh,
talking about them.
cool.
I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about them.
No, I got you now.
Yeah,
Cool.
there are some native people that are still there. I'm not talking about
Cool.
them.
Nah,
I'm
I'm
talking
saying no,
about
bro.
those.
No, we on the same
I'm
point
saying
now.
no, I'm not on
Chill,
that.
don't,
About what?
no, we
How
good.
about what?
Leave us.
What does he
No, I'm
disagree?
saying, I don't agree with y'all.
Leave
What do you
us,
disagree
man.
on?
When
I
you
gotta
said
leave
that,
home to
when
go
you
get
said that it's
put the cam-
Dominicans on the island,
put the camera on.
that is not African or something like that. That's what y'all was saying.
Huh?
That
There
just
are some people who are in the Dominican Republic
That are not
who
African
are the
descent.
product.
I disagree.
I don't know if they're entirely the product, but they are the product of people who migrated out of Africa tens of thousands of years ago, maybe 50,000 years.
Not
ago.
all.
We would consider them the Taino. That mixture.
My boys
all
will
of them
tell you.
have African blood in them.
No,
brother.
no,
Well,
no,
if-
no, no, no.
You saying
no,
no?
The answer
no.
is yes and no.
Oh, no,
Go ahead.
no.
What
When
you mean?
he says, I'm referring, then he's talking about what you were saying, people who migrated tens of thousands of years
Sarnetta
ago.
confused herself.
But if that's the case, everyone in the world is African, and I agree with that. But that's not what I'm talking about right now.
If Africans migrated
I'm
out of
talking
Africa,
about those people.
then that's how you would get that.
Yeah,
you
and
have
I agree that
African-
everyone on the
That's not
planet is
true.
an African.
That's not
I agree
true.
that, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm closing the lens a little bit.
Right on
I'm
to
talking
those
about
that
people
are
who we would
African.
consider phenotypically African.
From DR.
People that have the wide nose, the darker skin, the thicker lips. Those people that we would consider that look like what we would consider Africans to look like. Those people.
In DR.
I'm saying that there are people in Dominican Republic.
That's black that are not Africans, and then you have some that are black that are descendants of Africans.
When you say black, that's what confuses this conversation.
Skin color, you know, brown,
That's what
copper
confuses
color,
this
whatever.
conversation. There are people who are in DR that have been in the Dominican Republic for tens of thousands of years.
That don't have African descent.
No.
Well,
brother.
in that case, they're
No,
all
you said that,
Africans.
brother.
And then
They've been
there are
Dominican
people-
for tens of thousands of years, brother.
That's been in that country for tens of thousands of years. I'm talking about the original people, not the Taino.
But
the
there wasn't
Arawak.
Dominicans tens of thousands of years, brother.
Well, the Dominican Republic didn't exist at that time.
Right.
But that's
and-
not what
and
I'm talking
even
about.
the word Dominican Republic.
Absolutely.
That's why I say I disagree with you.
But on that sense, then I would agree with your disagreement. We're all talking about it depends on how wide you
Yo,
open
we
the
are all
lens.
retarded right now. I'm telling y'all.
It
It's
depends on
all
how-
of us.
No, this is a good
It
bit.
It's
depends
all
on
of
how
us.
wide
We
you open
all-
the lens.
Right.
Because you could say that everyone on the planet is an African. That's not what I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. You could even talk about those people. Well, I'm talking particularly about those people who have been in the country that is considered the Dominican Republic.
Hold
And
on, let's be clear.
They were mostly brought there as enslaved Africans.
Hold on, you saying you got DR. Now within DR, you got melanated people. Some descend from Africa, and some are natives to DR. Forget the name, but
agree.
just the place.
Now, I agree
Is that
with
what
that.
you?
I agree with
No,
that.
I'm asking him. Is that what he's saying?
Just like
Is that what you're saying?
Just like us here from Africa, they was already
I agree with
descendants here.
you. Yeah, it was.
And
That was
all of us
melanated.
didn't come
On the boat.
But then again, we migrated all over.
But listen,
but all
we-
of us didn't come on the boat.
Can we agree that we're talking
So I
about
understand
three
what you're
lens sizes? One is the really big lens, one is the middle lens, and one is the smallest.
I'm just trying to get what you saying though.
So I'm
you saying
talking.
that
I'm
there's-
talking right now on the smallest lens.
meaning that there are
I'm
people
talking
in
about people-
DR that are native to Africa,
Yes.
and then you have melanated people there that are not also.
If you go to the mid lens, or to the largest lens, yes. Though we
Just in a
we
nutshell,
could say
do you
that
feel
they're.
like-
But I want you to understand the difference. Everyone is from Africa.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I know you don't. That's what I wanted to debate. That's what I wanted
See,
to
that's
debate.
what he wanted to debate.
That's what I wanted to debate.
Why do you, but Africa's not the oldest continent.
Yes,
You got
sir.
continents
What
that's
do you mean the oldest
underwater
continent?
that predate Africa.
What do you mean the oldest continent?
You got continents underwater that predate Africa.
Now hold on.
What do you mean
now, hold
predate
on.
Africa?
Now,
That's
see,
not
this is what
true.
I mean. When you say that,
That's not true.
That's when you got to prove
That is
what
not.
you're talking
It's
about.
not true.
So
No,
th-
but Jabari, it is if he can prove it.
It's
That's
not-
What no,
I'm telling you I
listen
can
to what
prove
I'm
the
telling you.
opposite.
But listen to what I'm
I'm
saying.
telling you I can prove the opposite.
Right, but I'm telling you, if he can prove it right now that there are continents older than
And
Africa,
this is-
then he can prove that.
this is where y'all get like lost. All continents are connected. They're not floating in water. So no continent predated any continent. When I say predated Africa, I mean it was not covered in water. So you had Africa, you had other continents.
Wait.
You
Say that
had,
part
hold
again.
on.
Say that part again.
Hold on.
Say that part again.
Hold on.
Say that part
Hold
again.
on.
Before they chopped it up, he said it was
Before-
all one.
One. No,
Landmass.
I'm saying no. I'm
We
saying,
tend to call it landmass
I'm saying
Pangea.
no. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying you had every continent that you have now
Mm-hmm.
and more. So when Africa was around, you had other continents that you may not see now thriving with Africa in that time.
No.
Some of those places
That's not true.
like New Orleans.
It's not true.
New Orleans was thriving with New
Solace,
York
that's
City,
not
but
true.
now it got flooded.
Solace, that's not true. It's not a factual.
So continents, ain't no continent get flooded ever.
That's not what I said. But
Oh.
what you're talking about when you say thriving with Africa, and maybe you're not saying this. So let
I
me
think
be
you
clear.
pinpoint
Wait.
on
Let me be
small
clear.
things
Let me
that's
be
not
clear. Let me
important.
be clear. I want to ask you a question so I can be clear about what you're saying. And hold on. See, this is when you think I'm playing. I'm trying to get clear on you.
No, I'm with
when
you
you
right
say
now.
thriving with Africa, I assume that you're talking about with people thriving with Africa.
Just people existing at the same time Africa
with people.
was.
That's why I would disagree with you.
Because you're pinpointing
because-
every word. Like,
because words have meaning.
yeah, but if we talking about the people and we talking about that place, and I say
But
there were
yeah,
other
but if we're
people
talking about
thriving
people,
around the
yes,
time
so
of
that's
Africa,
why I disagree
he
with you.
grasps because he's not
But that's
pinpointing
why I
every
disagree
little
with
word.
you.
It's
But
like,
that's
I get
why.
what he's saying.
But listen to where I'm pinpointing, and then you'll see why I'm making the distinction. The land masses that may have been above the water that are now below the water. There are not many of them, by the way.
I know.
They're very small.
I know.
Right? But if the argument is that there's some that were above water that are no longer above water, below, that are no longer
Visual.
right. But those places that happened particularly before humans were on the planet.
No.
Because you have to remember, the Earth is much older than humanity.
Of course.
The Earth is about 5 billion years old. Right?
So you saying that the
but
continents?
humans, but wait, here, but humans,
Don't say when humans started, because we all know you don't know.
And just like
do you mean I don't
let's
know?
not flag up.
what do you mean I don't know?
You know when humans first popped up on this continent?
I have a really good argument for it.
We don't want to deal. You just deal with facts.
But you can't, but you said a lot of stuff that's not facts.
Deal with facts.
You said a lot of stuff that's not facts.
Like
Well,
what?
hold on, Jabari.
You just said that there
Hold
were
on, I wanna
continents that
see-
are under the water that were
Jabari,
thriving with
now,
Africa.
I think you made a mistake.
that did
Jabari.
not occur. That did not happen.
Jabari,
Why not?
Jabari, you made a mistake.
With
when
what?
You said you can
Whose
correct
phone
me
is
if
that?
I'm wrong.
Oh, that's your phone.
You said that you can give a good argument on when human beings started. Something
You
like
can.
that. How? It was nobody here.
Yeah.
Just like you said, Jabari, hold up. Just like you said, the Earth is 5 billion years old.
Thank you,
How do
OG.
know that?
Just
Let me
one
give you-
time.
let me answer.
Nobody
Thank
really
you.
know
So
that.
let me answer. So let me answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I said you can give a
Let him
good.
answer this.
So wait, that's
I'm not
why I
gonna say
said you
that.
could give a good argument because no one that was here wrote something that said, "Guess what? I'm the first dude."
Right, exactly.
Right. But that's why I'm saying it's a good argument.
How?
And it's not.
I don't even think it
How?
would be. a
So
good
let me
argument.
explain. Let me explain. Let me
Yeah.
explain. We actually can look at the fossil record, and as we look at the fossil record, we see that there were certain beings that we consider intermediate stages to where we are now. The forms of life that we can consider close human ancestors that were not what we consider today Homo sapiens sapien. We are Homo sapiens sapiens.
This is all white man's made
So
up
that
stuff.
is, and you said that, and I disagree with
It's
you.
so deep.
These are the things I wanted to disagree with you on, but we got far afield because there is no white man science. Africans created science,
And white men altered
Africans
that science and gave it to us.
There is no way to
Washed
alter
in.
science. Science is science.
You can alter science.
But then that
No.
wouldn't be science.
You could disagree.
Science is the
You
root
could disagree
with-
with someone's findings.
we have scientists
But wait,
that disagree amongst
But
each other
listen.
now.
Sure.
So science
Sure.
is perspective.
But guess what happens?
you can't
but guess
say
what
that.
happens? As we do more work and more study, some theories they fall by the wayside because
Perspective.
as science improves,
Perspective is
as we
important.
learn, it's not just perspective.
That's
it's
the main
as we
thing.
do more.
Perspective is everything.
It's not just perspective. Some of it is developing the tools that have us able to understand things. Like for
To see
example,
better.
for example, when people argue there was a Big Bang theory,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was a theory, but now what we've done is we're able to develop devices that can help make the argument better. So for just about within the last 3 months, they were able to use a device to measure gravitational waves in space.
But there was no big
And
bang.
as they look at the gravitational waves, they can once again say, well, these waves are coming from the same source, which seems to once again support the concept of a Big Bang.
It's their perception.
And so that's not perception.
Can I say something? It's the perspective because everything revolves and repeats. So when you're trying to find where the wave and the source of the wave coming from, you're going to get lost. Because that's like trying to find out where did Silas come from? Oh, he came from his mother. His daughter must have came from his mother. But it's revolving. So my daughter will seem like she came from my mother. But there's someone that predates my mother.
But no, that's
There's
not true.
someone that predates them.
That's
So
not
when you're
true.
trying to track where
Solace,
something's coming from and the life is revolving,
Solace.
you're gonna get
Let's
lost.
say that your mother and your daughter walk into the hospital, and God forbid, I'm gonna make an argument that I'm not wishing, but I'm just hear me for a 2nd. Let's say that for whatever reason they were in an accident, they weren't able to speak. Right? They might say maybe this little girl is this woman's daughter. If they chose to do a DNA test,
I'm not talking about
listen to me, they would be able to tell, no, this is not her mother, this is her grandmother. And so it's not just a perspective. You can use science.
They're not doing a
Let
DNA
me
test on
finish.
waves.
Let me finish. You can use science sometimes to come to very close to definitive or definitive answers. So no, they're not doing DNA on waves. But now what they're able to do is they have very, very powerful telescopes that did not exist recently
life is like
that allow us to be able to measure something that we couldn't measure before. Just like when the Dogon people said that there was a star they came from. People
Life-
thought they were crazy.
life
And then eventually what happened is they developed a telescope that was strong enough for them to be able to see that star.
Right.
So now they can, it's not about perspective, now they can prove something someone
But
said.
life is repeating and it's revolving, meaning it happens over and over
That
again.
once again
so when
depends
you're
on
trying
your
to
lens.
it still have nothing to do with it.
Of
You
course
can
it
have the
does.
biggest lens you want.
Listen.
If something revolves, there's no start.
Your
or-
grandfather will never be here again.
You're not listening, brother. If there's no start or end, scientists could never prove anything as far as beginnings go. That's done.
That's not true.
Jabari.
That's not true.
Brother, you bugging out.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't want to
'cause
say
I'm like,
anything
whoa.
because if I say something, we're going to get into some stuff that we do disagree. Because if he believes that, I think some of the other things he said cannot be true.
But you
so I'm not going there.
So
though.
are you saying
never
that
said
matter
it.
was here before energy.
No, I don't believe matter was here before energy.
Oh,
I believe
that's
that
what he
energy
said.
must
Yeah.
predate matter.
Yeah, but you just said
let me
matter
say
is
this to
energy.
you. But let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. In some ways, depending on the lens that you're looking at,
We recording?
energy is matter.
Energy is matter, but you said it as if energy is only is like matter, just matter. You said it as if energy is matter, as if energy doesn't exist without matter.
I'm saying depending on what lens you look at, energy is matter because energy is also particles.
Energy is within matter,
But energy
it's
is
not
also
matter.
particles.
Matter is not energy. Energy is
So
within
explain
matter.
to me what energy is.
Energy, life force that powers up what you would call the body, or
Not all
matter,
energy is life force.
or matter.
All energy is life force. Not all energy is life force.
So what
The
is it?
sun is certainly a ball of energy, but would
And
you
that is a
consider
life
that
And that's a life. That's
So
the
sun-
solar being.
So the sun is alive.
The sun, you're looking
the same
at.
way that you're
Of
Can I
alive.
say
course
something?
the sun is
You're
alive,
look-
brother.
How does
The
it keep
sun
us
is
Not in the
alive?
same- Not in the same way.
Yes, it
that he
is.
is alive.
The sun is the same
You're
thing
talking-
I am.
You got to understand that there's some times that we should talk about philosophy and science. And there are certainly areas where they converge, but they don't converge everywhere.
Sun,
Like, for example, I don't believe that there's literally a woman who was arched over that literally swallows the sun and gives birth to the sun. That's
No,
a
that's a
philosophical.
myth, right.
That's a philosophical articulation.
who
right?
said that? You talking about Kemet?
I'm talking about the Kemetic. Yes, I'm talking about.
But that's not what that even say.
What do you mean? That's what not?
When you got you talking about when Nut is over the earth, in that you talking about that carving?
Yeah.
And you said that it's you. I get what you was trying to say. You was trying to say that that has a meaning. Don't take that literal. That is not that. I
Right.
get that.
So
But
where are we disagreeing?
because Nut don't got nothing to do with the earth.
What do you mean? She don't have nothing to do with the earth.
Uh-oh.
Nut is
Come
the
on,
sky.
Silas, man.
Newt and Geb were one at one point.
Yeah, male and female
So how
reproductive
could they not
organs.
be one? They were one at one
Because the
point.
male and female reproductive organs ain't
Newt
one.
and Geb were one at one point. They were separated by Shu.
Huh?
They were separated by Shu.
Say that again.
Newt and Geb, Earth is Geb. You know
Earth is
that.
not Geb.
Earth
Geb is
Geb.
the reproductive of a male.
I'm talking about Kemetic philosophy and spirituality. So
we not talking science no
Kemetic no, we're talking about philosophy now.
I want to deal with the science.
Well, but if you're talking about Newt and Geb, you're talking about philosophy. Because there is no woman that swallows the sun and gives birth to it.
I didn't say it was. I said nut.
That's my point. That's why I'm saying it's philosophy.
Nut. It's not philosophy. It's explaining the sky and how the sun is within the sky.
It's a philosophy
So when it's
of
saying
how-
that nut swallowed the sun, it's not philosophy. They're explaining reality. The sun is swallowed by the sky.
I'm not saying philosophy
Which is the
false.
womb.
Listen, I think you think I'm saying that philosophy is false.
No, I think
I'm saying
philosophy. I know what philosophy is.
No, I think you think I'm saying that. but that's
No,
not
I don't
what
think
I'm
that's
saying.
what you're saying. Philosophy is philosophy. Science is science. I grasp.
But sometimes they converge.
yeah.
So I would say that yes, there are times that converges. But when they talk about Newt and Geb, they're not talking about it scientifically per se. They're trying to explain the nature of things. What is the relationship between things?
They breaking down the divine aspects of life. So nut is the sky or the night sky, which is the womb. So when you look up at the sky at night, you're looking at the womb of the macro being that we all live in. Just like you have micro life within you.
I have no disagreement with what you said.
So this is when it-
But
so
what
I'm saying is this.
But you said Newt had nothing to do with Geb, and I said there was a point in that.
I said they
story-
were. You said that they were one
They
being.
were one at one point.
I don't know nothing about that.
Well, that's because you need to do a little bit more reading on it.
You might just be
I'm
saying
telling
that.
you that-
I don't
I'm
know.
telling you that
I learned directly from source. You learned
What
from
source?
books that other people
Well,
wrote.
if you use the word Newt and Geb, then you're talking about Kemetic philosophy, and I'm telling you, I've studied Kemetic philosophy.
If I'm using
for
the
many,
word
many
nut and
years.
gab, I'm using the word nut and gab because that's the word y'all use. I can't sit here and explain to you Kemetic science through words that I
So
know.
what word would you use?
I wouldn't use no word. I understand it. So you don't need to use a word for sky and sun, and you don't need the names of the Kaneteru to understand, because the names
But
have
here's
nothing
the
to do with
deal.
the understanding.
That's not
It's just
true
the
either.
names
That's not
for
true
us to
either.
communicate.
That is not true either.
You
The
get my
reason-
point?
The reason why
I
you
need to
said-
know his
wait, wait,
name
wait,
to
wait, wait, wait.
communicate about him to
The reason
someone
why
else.
you are saying that is because you don't understand the names.
No, I'm saying that because if I'm talking about Sonetta to someone, I need to know his name so they can
No, wait,
understand.
no.
If I'm not
The
talking
names
about
of you
Sonetta to
and
no
Yet
one, I
occur
don't need
that
to know
way.
his name.
He doesn't read Medunetter. That's why he's saying that.
Oh my God.
Because the very name. Listen to me for a second. The very name Newt tells you about her nature.
Sky, right?
What is new?
Sky, right?
What is new?
You playing games.
No, I'm
Nut
not
is
playing
the
games.
sky, right?
No, I didn't ask you about Nut.
I'm
I said, what
asking
is
you.
new?
Nut
What
is
new?
the sky, right?
What is new?
You playing games.
The reason why he's able to answer is because he doesn't read the Medunetter.
Why
so
you
the
ain't-
names are not irrelevant. They're
Why
just
are you not answering my
The
question?
reason why?
See how you do?
The reason-
He don't answer
let me
mine, so I do him the
explain.
same
Let
way,
me
and then he say,
explain.
he not answering because he
No,
don't know.
let me explain.
Mind you, I made it
Let me
clear.
explain. You said that the name you would not use any names because the names don't really
Not
have
important.
that much.
Then he
they're
asks
not
me what's
important.
new.
But I'm saying to you that the names.
After
are
I
very-
already said I don't
Let me
need the
finish.
name.
I'm saying to you that the names are very important.
not
because-
important.
Listen to me. You have to listen. You don't read the language. I'm telling you. If you understand the language, you understand the name is highly important.
The language ain't been deciphered. So when you sitting here
If
acting
you
like
believe
you did,
Uh-oh.
you lying to yourself.
If
You
you
listen
believe
to
that,
that,
brother,
you believe that was said.
you are
You must
really
have been listening to
confused.
the-
Hold on, I'm gonna say this one thing.
Uh-oh, here you go.
The Medunetter got way more vocabulary than we got. They got way more alphabet than we got. They got way more understanding than we got. A lot of the languages we got, they come from the Medunetter, simplifying it. So English is simplified Old English. So all language comes from the language that predated, and they kind of simplify it. So this is how we get LMAO, laughing my ass off, and you seeing us simplify our English language into some weirdo shit. So this happens all over the history of life. One language is simplified and simplified and simplified. Now my point is this: if the Medunetter been deciphered, how? We don't got the same amount of vocabulary or words. How do you decipher something and you missing
Okay,
words?
okay, let me explain.
Now
Let me
you
explain.
ask the question. Please.
Let him answer.
Let him explain.
Let me explain. I really did
Don't
listen.
cut him
I
off.
listened
No,
carefully.
you did. You did.
Yes,
You
I
did.
keep doing
You
that,
did.
but you're not hearing that.
I got you. Let me
Listen,
sit back.
What I'm saying to you is that when people say the Medunetter has not been deciphered, first of all, they don't even believe it. That
The
is a
Medunetter.
marketing. They don't believe that.
I do.
The people that are saying it don't believe it. One of the main proponents is Sarah Sutanseti.
And he wears the Hulk every day.
If he doesn't believe that, then you have to say that his name. Why would he have a name, Sarah
Right.
Sutanseti?
But here's the deep part,
But
because
let
I don't
me
think
finish.
Seti know anything
Let
either.
me finish.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you on that.
Let me finish. Now you have to understand that even when you're talking about modern languages, there are good translations and bad translations.
Definitely.
But it doesn't mean that it's not a translation. So that when I speak to someone who is speaking Spanish, sometimes they'll say to me, well, there's not really a good translation in English. It doesn't mean that they haven't translated the phrase or the sentence. That just means the meaning doesn't carry very well.
That's my point.
So understand that when we talk about the Medunetter, absolutely the Medunetter has been deciphered. Do
Not
we
all of it,
understand?
but
some.
Wait, let me finish. Does that mean that we understand everything that was meant? No.
That's my point.
Does it mean that it is easily spoken? No.
That's my point.
But the issue is whether there's a difference between being able to speak a language and being able to decipher a language. And that is where the confusion lies. Because the Medunetter, let me finish. The Medunetter does not transcribe many of its vowels. And so some people believe that because it doesn't transcribe many of its vowels, it means that it hasn't been deciphered. But that's not true.
Can I say something?
So what we're able to do, let me finish this.
Yeah.
What we're able to do,
Coming tomorrow.
you're sitting right beneath Medunetter right now.
Indeed.
I can read that to you.
I'm doing something like
You can read what you was taught
No.
to read.
Brother, the other thing is
just wanna
this.
make sure.
The other thing is
that.
this.
Still on for tomorrow.
But if I
What
told
you're
you
able to do, let me finish. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example. I want you to hear this too, Sonetta, because
Okay.
we're going to close really soon because I have to head downtown for my workshop.
Oh,
But
okay.
you have to hear this.
No, I'm listening.
When they were recently doing work along the Great Merkut, the Great Pyramid, they were doing some sonograph studies, and they found an actual void. They found a room And they didn't know
Where?
it was
Say that
there.
again?
Right by the Great Mirkut, the Great Pyramid.
Okay.
Right? There are actually 4 at every
No,
part of the
I heard
planet.
of this.
So listen to
Yeah, go
this.
ahead.
So what they did was, they said, wow, we've been coming to this for thousands of years, but no one knew that was there. At least we didn't know. So they dug it up. And they found that there were pieces of wood. And as they looked at the piece, they said, this is a boat. We wish that we were able to put this back together. As they took all the pieces out, guess what they found? The instructions on how to put it back
I know
together.
exactly what you're talking
So
about.
they read the instructions and they put the boat back
They
together.
had this on the History Channel.
If you were not able to read the language, you would not be able to have a boat.
That's not true.
What I'm saying
Not
to
true.
you is
A Russian can
the
put
boat.
together
Wait,
a
listen,
American
listen
car
to me.
No, but he
Listen
without
to me.
the language.
But
Listen
he just
to
showed
me.
you.
He
He
didn't.
just told you.
Listen to me. Let me finish.
He's talking
There
building.
are many
That's
times.
not reading.
Let me finish.
different things.
There were 1,500 pieces, a lot of pieces.
Not the
And
same.
so what you have to understand is one of the ways that we know the language has been deciphered is that when we read it, based on where it is and what it's saying, we usually understand what's being said.
Now, can
So
I-
that I could give you a book. In fact, I told my folks that are part of Comedic Ascension, my bi-weekly worship services, I told them to get a book called The Temple.
So I didn't get to talk.
I can't remember the name of the temple. I listened to you. You got to listen to this because I'm building this.
It's
here.
long. I can.
When you look at the temple, it actually describes on every wall the process that occurred in each of those rooms. If we weren't able to decipher it, the decipherment wouldn't make sense in the room.
You're confusing
So this is
What's your sign, man?
Can I
This
say
is-
What's your
something?
sign?
I'm a Cancer. You confusing translation and deciphering. You can translate something. Can I talk without all the goofy ass laughing? Because I'm about to make both of y'all look stupid.
Oh shit.
Because y'all want to play. Now we gonna play.
Yeah,
Y'all want to
yeah,
play. Let me
yeah.
get on my
do some
shit.
push-ups. All right,
No,
come
we
on,
gonna
come
get on
with
my
it.
shit.
Come with
There's a
it.
difference between translation and decipherment.
Right.
Now, if I'm talking to a Spanish brother and the Spanish brother hear me and you talking, and I say dog, and the Spanish brother understand, okay, dog is perro.
But we both
no,
agree
can I
with
talk?
you. that
Wait.
there's a difference between
Wait. Let him
Why-
finish.
We both
Why
agree
he
with that.
laugh?
Let him
Why y'all
finish.
laugh?
Let him finish.
No.
Why y'all laughing?
But the other thing is this though.
Because deciphering and translation is two different things.
But you have to understand that when
They
you're-
translated
But
what
wait,
they.
but
So if hold on, if you can
Okay.
if you can translate something, what do that? Deciphering is understanding it. So the Puerto Rican might know that dog is perro, but I might have told you, y'all about to go see my dog. The Spanish person gonna think I'm talking about perro, a dog.
Right.
So they understand the word is translated, but the understanding is not.
But you
there.
know what would happen?
That's what I'm saying.
But
y'all
let me say
translate
this
the
to
metal
you.
netter, but the
But let me
understanding-
say this to you. Let me say this to you. First of all, understand you're talking to someone who does this. You're talking philosophically.
I'm talking literal. That's a literal
No, you're
thing.
talking philosophically because
Now
you
you
cannot
playing
read.
games.
You're talking to someone who can.
You playing games.
So what I'm saying is that there's a different level of understanding that I'm coming
I
to this
can
conversation.
read that.
to
You can read what you was
So what
taught.
I'm saying to
you can't
you-
read that on your own. You was
Listen,
taught by somebody
I
to
can
read it
tell
that way.
you, I
But check
can
this out. Hold on,
tell
hold on,
you.
hold on, hold
Let me
on.
finish. Let
So
me
you can't
wait.
say
Let me
that
say this
means
one
something.
thing because I was saying something.
Because I got something.
Let me say this
Yeah.
one thing to you. That same guy that thinks that you're talking about a dog, he only gets that because he's listening to one sentence. If he listened to you talk enough, long enough, he would begin to understand what they call idiomatic phrases.
He wouldn't because he only
So
knows
that
his language and he knows the correlation. Like
that
you know,
is
Perro's
not
dog.
true.
Y'all
Because
know this means
as
that.
he listens
that,
to,
but y'all
you're gonna say, "I'm
understand.
going to see my dog." He gonna say, "Why is he going to see a dog?" And then he's gonna say, "My dog owes me some money." Be like, "Wait a minute, his dog has money?" And then he's gonna say, "Yeah, my dog told me that we're gonna hang out on Friday."
But if
And then
it-
he would say, "Oh, wait
it
a
only
minute,
makes sense-
he's not talking about a
Can I say something right
animal."
quick?
He's talking about a
Can I
person.
say something right quick? If
So
they
that
don't-
let me
hold
finish
on.
this one
Because if
sentence.
they-
You're interrupting me.
Because I'm about to make a point
You're
of what you
interrupting
just
me,
said.
but you have to hear my point so that maybe your point will change.
It's
Listen to me.
not.
Listen to me.
Bro, you
So
making a
that the
point
more you read, the better you have the ability to have understanding of phrases and idioms.
Can I talk? The
Yes.
understanding don't come from you reading more. If they only understand translations, they can read as far down as they want.
No.
Money, I might not be talking about cash. I might have said, "Yo, man, what's up, money?" So it's all understanding.
So how would they figure it out?
You can't say the more a person
How would they
read,
figure it out?
They're going to understand.
So you're telling me that nobody
they only
that's
understand their
But wait a minute.
language.
So you're telling me that no one that speaks Spanish understands dog or money to mean your friend? How do they figure it
They
out?
understand it.
How
if
do they figure it out?
understand English.
No.
You have
Come
you have,
on, man.
You have hold on.
Stop.
Can I talk?
No, listen,
You have
listen.
hold on. You have immigrants that come here that can speak, and you see them speaking, but they have no clue what they're
Silas, you
saying.
said the only reason why he knows how to read that, it was because it was taught to him.
Right.
Right? Brother, the only reason why we know how to read English is because it was taught to us.
But my point
The
is,
only reason
hold
why we know
on.
how to read Spanish
But
because
you
it was
only got
taught
have to acknowledge the Medu language comes with pictures.
Right.
It don't just come with words.
What do you mean?
So you don't have to just know the words. You can know the pictures.
That helps you understand the words.
That's my point. You was taught to know it how you know it.
What?
You didn't look at the
Wait,
Medu
you're making my point. He's
not
saying
making
it's his
my-
point.
You don't understand what I'm saying. The Medu has pictures and writing. They correlate. So if you don't understand one, maybe you understand the other.
Right. So then what
So
happens
hold
is
on, my point is this. You were taught to read the Medu. You didn't look at the pictures on your own
I think
and
you're
say
using the wrong argument.
that's not true.
Say he
He's
was
helping my
trained.
argument.
train.
That's what you
were
tried to
He's
Trained.
making my argument.
You tried to say
But
he was
Solace,
trained to read the
Solace,
Medu.
Solace,
But you
Solace,
didn't learn it on your own.
Solace, no. Solace, first what you have to understand is that there was a point where I was looking at these pictures and I couldn't read.
I hear you, man.
And then eventually when I
You were
was
taught,
trained or taught or whatever
Bobby,
word you
tell
want
her how
to
many
use.
times you went to
Hey, listen, I've been there 14
None of that
times.
don't
I'm
mean
coming back
It
15
do
next
mean
month.
something,
It
brother.
don't, 'cause brothers
You know
come-
why I do?
Wait
If
a
brothers
minute.
come here and say that
Let
the
me
Ankh means
finish.
something different than the Egyptians
Let
say
me
now.
finish. What Egyptians say now?
You got people here that say the Ankh means life or whatever. In Egypt, it's a key to
Who's
them.
Egypt you talking about?
Huh?
You talking about people that live there now?
Nah.
They don't read the Medu. Most of them don't read the Medu.
Oh, so they don't know it.
They don't. They're Muslim. They have no idea.
Right.
I know more about that than they do.
I'm done with it.
I go there all the time
You telling me that-
and teach
you
them.
telling me that men from America know Egypt better than Egyptians?
Yes.
That's real.
That's
You know
precisely
why?
what I'm saying.
Because they stop. They think it's paganism now.
They speak Islam. They
You
speak
don't think
Arabic.
They know something.
I didn't say they
That
know
we
nothing.
don't. If
I didn't
they
say they
say
know
it's
nothing.
You will have somebody on the continent that knows it.
If they saying it's paganism,
Listen to me.
they basically telling them all he knows about the people of Egypt of the past is a lie.
What?
This is why the people of Egypt don't follow that shit no more.
Why?
Cause y'all paganized it like he just said.
No, that's not
The
what I
reason
was
why they
saying.
don't follow
What
it
you
is
saying?
because for
What
the
I was
most part
saying
they're
is
not
because they
ancient
became
people.
Religious.
They're not the ancient people.
Right.
They came from somewhere
definitely
else.
I'm not saying they ain't. But
So that's why they
closer
don't
to
know.
the ancient people than we are.
Why?
Cause
Why?
they're there.
That doesn't mean you're
No,
closer.
brother.
So, brother, are you
That's not
telling me?
true.
Wait a minute. You telling me that a Native American in Canada doesn't understand Native American ways in New York better than I do?
Say that again.
You heard what I said.
No, I'm trying.
You telling me that a
the
Native
correlation of what you
American
make.
in Canada will not understand Native American ways that as they occurred in Manhattan better than I
Put
do?
it to my perspective and then say what you said. You get my point?
What do you mean put it to your
Say
perspective?
what I said and what I was saying, and then say what you
I just
said.
made an analogy.
You just made an analogy.
What I'm
that
saying
don't make
to
no
you is
sense
what
to
I'm
me.
saying to you is that just because someone is not in the location doesn't mean they don't have better understanding.
But you're not even from there.
What does that have to do with anything?
It got to do
I'm
with
from
something.
here. I'm from here, but I could barely tell you anything about Native American culture
No,
because
check it out,
I'm
check it
not
out.
Native
Hold on,
American.
check this out. We over here in America.
But you can tell about America.
Hold on, Silas.
You get my
Silas,
point?
Silas,
No.
Silas. Hold on, Silas.
Because they can tell me about Egypt, they can't tell me about Kemet.
Jabari, we over here.
No, did you see his face?
no,
He
no.
heard me.
No.
Stop. He heard me.
No, relax.
Silas, let me make this
Relax.
point. We
Hold
over
on.
here in America,
He made a good
we
point.
know more
He
history
made a good
about
point that you.
Africa
He made it. No,
than
that's not
Africans
good.
in Africa.
That's
man.
not true. That's not true.
Not all of them.
But
Not
he
all.
made. That's a bad point. But he made a good one.
The ones that's over here.
The Africans
We
over.
know way more
No,
history than
we
the Africans
don't.
over
No,
there.
It's not necessarily
we don't.
true.
No,
It's not
we
necessarily
don't.
true.
Because
But he made a good point. Nah.
A lot of them don't know
But
about
Africa's a very big place.
Yeah, he made a good point though. The people of now.
What the point he made?
He said the people of now in Egypt. See, I'm not here to say if he make him wrong. What he said
We're
was
having a
right.
discussion.
Yeah, he said the people in Egypt now they know Egypt. They don't know Ken.
Oh, okay.
And I'll give him that.
That was my point.
That's good intellect. That's a good statement. But and I don't want to say that I'm going against what you're saying.
Okay.
But you got to add a little more to it.
Okay, I'm hearing.
So what you're
I'm
saying
listening,
is,
I'm listening.
What you're saying is good.
I'm listening.
And I'm not going to disagree with that.
I'm listening.
But Kim became Egypt. So they still, I'm not disagreeing with you. You're right. The people, just like the people of now, we know America.
Kim didn't
we don't
became
know.
Egypt, brother.
Yes, it did.
That's only in their minds, not to us.
Kim-
It didn't became to them.
Kim, in a sense, Kim became Egypt. Whether it got watered down
Not to me, it
become.
didn't.
When I say become
And I'm
Egypt,
quite sure
hold
not to
on.
Jabari,
Because
it
when
didn't.
I say become Egypt, y'all taking it as something else. I'm speaking of America was what it was, and then white people came here. So the America that we have today, it's not the same America that it was to the people
That's
then.
true.
So that's the point I'm trying to make. He's right. The Egypt people of now, they know Egypt. Meaning when Kim became Egypt, they know from that point.
So
you get what I'm
closing,
saying?
We get ready to close.
That's
So
my
we
argument.
closing-
I know, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, we get ready to close.
But what can I say one thing?
Make the
Can I say
statement
one
right
thing?
now
Can I say one
that
thing?
Jabari beat Sanchez, brother, because you going to look bad. Make it that Jabari beat Sanchez.
He didn't even watch the whole
Yo, I
thing.
can't even believe y'all y'all.
He didn't watch the whole
That
thing.
shit is crazy.
Because you didn't watch it. Let the people know you didn't watch the whole thing.
I watched the hour. I watched what I said.
An hour.
Hold on, brother.
That's less than
Hold
a
on.
third.
Hold on.
hour?
Hold on.
Damn.
I told the people what I watched.
Right, so you
I
can't
never
base
said I
off
watched
of-
the whole
No,
thing.
but you made it. You said Jabari.
That's
lost.
like
He
me watching.
did.
That's like me watching a 10-round.
brother.
That's like me watching a 10-round prize fight
Right.
and saying I
Can I
saw
make
the
my
first
point?
3 rounds.
Can I make my
I
point?
know who
For
won.
example.
Oh.
Did you see the Floyd Mayweather fight with
Of course.
McGregor?
Yeah, can I make my
The
point?
first 3 rounds, if you ain't seen nothing else, you probably would have said McGregor beat the shit out of him.
Fighting.
Because you didn't see
Can I talk,
the
brother?
whole fight.
Can I talk, brother?
Jabari, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
How
but
Mayweather
even
fought.
in that analogy,
It's not
I didn't
good.
lose the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, see, it's not a good
Sanchez got
analogy.
himself beat the hell up.
I'm making
Can
a
I
point.
make- can I- can I-
I'm
get-
making a point to say.
I know what
can't
point
watch
you're
the
making.
First 3 rounds.
I know what
in the
point you're
soul.
making.
He won.
I know what point you're
It's not a
making,
good point.
but
It's
people
not
at
that
home
good.
might think we're
Yeah,
saying
that
something
point
other.
is not that good. But
That's not a bad point. I just wanna clarify.
I'm following y'all. But what I want to say is this. I never
You gotta
said.
redo the video.
I
Don't
don't
see the
have to
video and
redo
then
the-
redo it, but
No.
you got to.
Let's hear what he's saying. Let him hear what he's saying.
What I watched was enough for me to say he got smoked.
On what- it's
now
on
y'all
what
not.
point?
Hold on. Can I talk?
I want you to tell me
Can I
what point he
talk?
got smoked on.
I'm trying
You gotta
to
go.
talk.
Okay.
I never said Sanchez was right about something and he was wrong about something. I said he got smoked because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do.
And what is that?
You wise, way wiser than Sanchez, as I said in the video, from my perspective. I thought you was a deep intellectual and he was just a country nigga. So when I say you got smoked, it's on that perspective.
And why though?
Not because Sanchez was right and he was wrong, because the fact you were struggling, going around a point, everything I said in the video. So I never said you lost because you wasn't smart.
Give me an example
I said
of what point
he was
going
beating around the bush. Sanchez was going straight at you.
I don't see him
Hold
going straight,
on,
brother.
okay, but can I have my opinion?
Go ahead.
That's all I'm.
You can have your opinion. sir.
Sanchez was going
Even
straight
if it's
at him.
wrong.
Instead of him just chopping, a lot of people said the same thing I said though. They said you was
I don't know
beating
what a lot
around
of
the
people you
bush.
saw.
Beating around the bush. You were talking about the moon and how it correlates to the water.
here's the problem.
But you should have just cracked his
But
head on
here's
Earth.
the problem. You have
that's
to
what he
understand.
did.
He
But
did.
wait.
I didn't get that
this
out
is
of
a
that.
difference in the way that we think.
Yeah, I didn't
This
get
is
that
also
out
the
of
reason
that.
why he thinks he can make an argument in 10 seconds.
Oh my God, I can't.
He did. He does think he
I
can make an
can.
argument in 10
I
seconds.
make- and I do all the
that's
time.
and I don't think that
I
when
do it
you're
all the time,
when you're
though.
talking about something that has complexity, you have to develop the argument. That's the reason why that debate took over 3 hours.
If I said you won,
because
if I said you won,
wait,
would you ask me the same question?
I would ask you what you thought was good about the debate. Why'd you think I won? I ask people that all the time.
And if
That's how I improve.
And if I told you why I thought you won, would you have anything to say after that? Like how you doing
I
that?
would ask you why you thought I won.
And when I tell you why I think you won, would you have something to say after?
If I disagreed with you,
why
I would
would
say
you disagree against if you won?
because the
This is where the
reasons
game comes.
because the
This is what I
reasons wait
need.
no
Playing games.
because the reason that you
What I
might
just
say
said made
you
perfect
might
sense.
say you
if I
wait
said he won,
wait
he wouldn't be sitting here trying to
you
have this
might
conversation.
say that's not
And you
true.
know that.
He doesn't
That's
know
true.
he does not know me.
Cause I would say that.
What
too.
you need to do is
I would've
ask
been
my
this.
wife-
Bro, tell me how I won.
Listen,
What you mean I won?
ask my wife how many times I
lying.
asked her.
Oh, shit.
Listen. Ask my wife how many
Oh,
times.
she lying on that one.
Listen. Ask my wife how many times I asked her to watch portions of it to tell me what her thoughts were. From the beginning, she said, "I don't even know why you had the debate.
But that's your wife.
You got
She gonna say
defeated."
that.
But you have to understand that my wife is a critical thinker,
No, she gonna
and she
never-
doesn't always agree with me.
Amongst them
Wife. My thing is that
And
I don't
so
want you
let
to
me
feel like-
finish. Let
Yeah, I
me
don't-
finish.
before
Let me
you finish, I
finish.
just want to say
So
this.
that not
Please
before I
don't
finish.
feel
Let me
like
finish
I'm
my
saying-
statement.
Cause you think I'm saying that you not wise or you dumber than Jabari.
No,
you
I
dumber than
think
Sanchez. And
that the
that's
reason
not
why
what I
you
said.
I think the reason why you think he won is because the two of you approach understanding in a similar
No, we
way.
don't.
Well, listen
We don't
to what
do
I-
nothing
let-
the same.
let-
I
listen
said
to-
he. I
listen,
told you why
listen
I think
to
he
me.
won.
Listen.
It had nothing to do with Sanchez.
Listen to me. Could you listen to me for a second?
But you saying something completely wrong.
But you don't even know why I'm saying it.
I do. You saying it because I said you lost. So
No,
now you want to try
no.
to bang me in with Sanchez
No.
like we got the same intellect. and
Listen
we
to me
don't.
for a second.
And he said he don't. He said he
listen
don't
to
agree with
me
Sanchez.
for
I
us.
said Sanchez
But
asshole.
listen to
Well,
me.
let's listen to him.
Why, how come I can't finish a sentence with you, brother?
Right.
This is what I'm saying. The reason why I wasn't as completely surprised that you said that is because you say that you learn from the life. And he says something similar. He says that he learns things that he can experience directly.
But that ain't the same.
And so in
That's not the
some
same.
ways, let me finish. In some ways, what you have to do is you have to use some tools that you can't just experience on your own in order to understand some things that are deeper. For
But I
example,
learn from the life the way
for
you learn from the book. I don't
for
learn
example,
like Sanchez
that's not possible.
learned. Huh?
When you read from a book, one of the things that you're doing is you're learning from other people's lives.
Exactly.
And other people's mechanisms
And it
and
don't
other
matter.
people's
That shit don't matter.
processes.
It don't mean
well,
that.
well, that's why what you said is similar to what he said.
No, I
Well,
learn from
the way
life
I
the same
this
way
is
you
my
read a
opinion.
book.
Just like
From
he
life
has,
experience.
just like he has an
No.
opinion. You cannot learn
This
from
is my
life the
point.
same
I
way
don't
you
learn.
learn from a book.
Yes, you can. The same way you're looking at the book and you're reading it, you can read life. Y'all don't look at life. Y'all listen to books.
You need to understand.
So a book will say one
You
thing
need to
that go against
understand.
life, and he
you,
will be like,
you
"But
need
the
to
book
you need to understand that you're
said."
sitting under not just someone who's a historian, but who is a
Not-
Kemetic priest.
That's cool.
So I experience the world daily, and I
But I'm
pay
not
attention
talking
to
about
things.
experience.
Let me finish. I pay attention to things that most people would not pay attention to
Mm-hmm.
because of what I do. Right. But I am saying to you that there are some things, and these are things that came to us from Kemet, came to us from Africans, not things that were given to us by Europeans. There are some things that you need to do in order to have a deeper understanding that sometimes goes beyond what you can notice.
And that's where the life
yourself.
comes. You ain't gonna get that deeper perspective from a book. It's only gonna come from the life.
Brother, that's not true.
That's the honest truth.
It's not true.
All ancient people learn from
If
the
I
life. They didn't
believe
learn
that,
from no book.
that's not
ancient
true either.
Kemetic people didn't learn from
Of course they
books.
did.
They learned from the life, and then they wrote the Medunetta from the
And
observations
so other
of
people didn't
life.
learn from what they wrote?
That's my point. The knowledge started with the life. It didn't start with the writing.
But it starts with other people's
It
lives.
don't matter. Whoever
It's
wrote
a
the
big
writings
difference.
had the knowledge.
There's
Where
a
did
big-
they get the knowledge
there's a
from?
big difference.
Before the book was written, the knowledge
There's
was
a-
had. Where did it come
There's
from?
a big difference
avoiding the
between
question.
what you're able to do
avoiding
on
the
your
question.
own, and then what you
You're
do is you
avoiding the
stand.
question.
Listen to me.
Before books was
you're
written, where did the
interrupting
knowledge
me.
come
What
from?
you're doing is you stand on the shoulders of those who made contributions before you. So some of what you do is
Before
based
that.
on what other people have experienced,
Before that.
not only on what you have experienced.
Before that.
And so you have to understand
Before
that we come to different bits of understanding, not just on things that we're able to experience ourselves within our own lives,
From others'
but
experiences.
also from what other people are able to tell, the tests that they're able to do.
You got to observe other people's
cannot
experiences.
observe
You can't go
everything.
by what another person
Brother,
tells
you
you,
can't
because a
observe
person
everything.
will lie about what they've experienced.
Hold on, look at this right quick. Look at my homeboy. He's in Mexico. He just sent me a picture.
Oh, that's odd.
Cause he telling me, Sonetta, come on, man, you gotta go take a vacation, brother.
You do.
It's on.
Yeah, it's on, but you can't see it. I'm gonna put it
No.
on.
Folks, I
man,
gotta
man,
roll because I
God,
have a
yeah,
workshop to run downtown.
All right, man. Peace, brother. That's what's
Peace,
up.
family.
Okay, next time we got to have a better discussion.